What is up? I'm gonna see who wants to join in. What is up? See who wants to join in for this chat. Just here. No. If people want to. I mean, if not, we will see. But just wanted to take an opportunity to cover with everyone that wants to watch now, check this out later, is finding shoes, what shoes to look for, getting prepped on shoes, and how to flip them, how to get the most money. I've had a lot of people since I've been posting some of my shoe videos comment and request that. Hey, not really good at that, not really getting that. Also, this is going to be an opportunity for some Q&A. If anybody has any questions while we are live, but maybe you're watching this later, that's really just what I want to go over. So I'm going to do this to kind of chat with everyone, give an opportunity to connect with everyone, honestly do what I can. Just looking for ways to help out. Alrighty. So let's see. Dum 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 dum. I didn't give a lot of notice, but hey, just wanted to take the time to hang out with everybody. Drop something in the chat if you are joining, if you're hanging out. I am just going to update on Instagram. Yep, live now. Come hang out. Flips, finds, and fun on YouTube. Q&A time. Fun time. Going over some shoe time. Yeah. Just live now. Come hang out. Dual purpose. Hanging out. But probably, picked a busy night. It's just while I'm here. Just want to check. Sales have been tremendous today. I can't believe it. It's been pretty amazing. Like, kind of blown me away. It's been to the awesome help of my wife. Sometimes she's in the chat as Mrs. Flips, if you see her. It's a good creative name by her. Wonder where she got the idea from. I am just closing out some of the browser. Man, that is old. All right, says there's 4 people watching. I don't know who yet. For some reason, it's not showing up in the chat. I can see it on the YouTube chat, so that's cool. Oh, my wife's telling me the clicks are loud on video. All right, I see Yakov in the house. All right, you will. hanging out from Ohio, listening in the background. So you must be getting some work done for sure. I'm going to try not to click back and forth too much. My wife said it's pretty loud. Okay, now I can see. Alrighty. And then, yeah, gonna have some other people joining in. Yakov, how is your night going? Like I said, thanks so much. You will hanging out, listening. Like I said, going over some shoe sales. Just had another awesome sale come through. It has been the night for sales. So why you send out offers. Since I think my wife is watching in the other room. Full day of work. What's up, Emily Conway? How you doing? Yeah. I'll show some of you. Like, the trick is to turn the brightness down. If you can see that. Pair of boots just sold. Mrs. Flips, my wife Brittany. Yeah, those boots just sold for $195. So that was going to be the lowest I would go on them. Well, I can't reach that goal, Emily. I'm trying to do 10 items a day. I've been saying 10, been doing about 13, so it's been pretty good. Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, he is awesome. He's a rock star. He wants his own YouTube channel. He would probably crush me in that. Just because he's just, he's like, welcome YouTube family. The whole time in the thrift store, I had to mute the last video due to, we were in a Goodwill playing the background music, things such as that. And sadly, that's what he was saying. Can I talk to the camera? Can I talk to the camera? I mean, he's just going to probably be a natural. So. Maybe it's a lot, but it's possible. That's right. It's making those goals. What's up? Hanging out from Texas. Let me all know when you want to get started. I'll wait a little bit because I'm going to cover my top 9 at 9 for shoes to look out for the Bolo shoes. And some of this will determine, on where you're from, the region. I'll give you some creative ideas. I got stuff next to me. I came prepared, which was good. That's cool to see, Emily. Yeah, I think my son, he wants to start one. So showing some of my cleaning skills. I actually have a comparison shoe. I cleaned one. Thanks, Emily. Thanks for hanging out while you could. I cleaned one to kind of do a side-by-side comparison, just to show you. And I probably, while talking to my wife, I may have spent 10 to 15 minutes, if that. Something. Okay, didn't clear my notifications. I was like, did something else just sell? Okay, but yeah, it has been a record sales day. Record. I don't know about record, but best so far for the week. So it's been really, really good. Let me make sure on here. You guys just let me know when you want me to get started. Like I said, cover with you some of the brands to look out for. I'll talk about who's really been teaching me about finding some shoes. I also want to answer any other questions you may have. Also, my cleaning tips, what I look for when I do pick them up, how I, really go through a shoe. I'll even have a pair here that I was too quick to grab because I have some of my default flaws. So I was just too fast picking them up, but I'll show you while they're probably going to go into a Goodwill pile um, or a yard sale pile. They're not going to make it as listable just because I will have to take such a low dollar amount on it. So if you're there and you want me to get started, I can go ahead and get started, or we can wait for a few more people. Like I said, I can answer any questions. I can really chat about whatever you want. This is a hangout night for me, just to hang out. My awesome wife is in the other room. She is my awesome partner in life, but also in what we do here, reselling on eBay. She is probably eating ice cream right now, but she's also gonna help me draft out some listings for eBay. It's a cool little system we just started working out, and it has been working the last 2 days. It is producing some tremendous sales. I couldn't be more excited about this. And if you saw in one of Emily's comments was she's making a challenge of 20 items a day. We've been working on at least listing 10 items a day. I'm going to see how much energy I have after this live to see how many items I do get listed. We already kind of pre-prepped a few things, but all right. So yeah, I guess it's Babette Perkins. What part of Texas are you from? I was curious. There's Jennifer Hayes, the best mod in the business. All right, Dan M. Maybe I'll make sure to go over the top College Station. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I was recently, my wife and I were there with my job right outside of Dallas, back before all this craziness went down in the beginning of March. Nice little trip out there. But yes, you guys, that's the moderator of all moderators right there, Jennifer, the rock star. But hey, for you, Dan, since you only have 15 minutes, I will at least cover my 9 shoes to be on the lookout for. And then after that, Dan, if you got to go, I'll go into some quick cleaning tips, how much time you don't want to spend on stuff, what I personally go for when listing, or what kind of, shoes I really kind of chase after. I'll go over some mistakes too. So, but let's get into that. It is a little past 9. So I'll go with my top 9. I won't talk about them too much so we can get them done in that 15-minute window. These are in no particular order, by the way, as well. So I'm really just showing these because this is a really small size, so it's making me kind of pay attention. But I'm showing you just brand, and I'll talk about a few different styles. I know Dan, if you guys don't know Dan M, it's Dan M for Dan the Man. He's not a reseller. He's just such a huge supporter of the community on here. Love when I got connected with him. When I was on Jimmy and Frank's show. Frank is Stroke of Luck Frank. That is Dan's cousin. And so it's just cool connecting. But this is not the #1 brand. But first one in the top 9 are Merrells. Merrells are just, they make year-round styles of shoes, boots. These are trail runners. They make waterproof quality stuff, and they go for a pretty good amount. It's another one just to look up on sales comps. This is a really small size 5, but I will tell you, this shoe in particular we just listed last night. I took about 5 minutes to clean. Merrells are always good for having rubber sole. Just having the rubber here, it was just an easy like little dust job. If they're not really bad with grass cutting, I don't clean the bottoms particularly, but Merrells, really good one. Second one's just a gimme. I'm gonna try to get the gimmies out of the way. Some Nike Air Max. Nikes in general, Nike running shoes. For me, basketball shoes, if they're not Jordans, they haven't done too well. But Nike running shoes, pretty much almost any Nike running shoe, something that you would think is not a big name, but Air Maxes. Yes, very true, Dan. I got a pair of Vibram soled military boots in there that I'm excited about. Super, super good. But Nike Air Max, great comps on them, or the Nike Reacts. Typically anything with a Nike air bubble, or that's walking on a coil or anything like that, they do really, really well. But I typically see Nike running shoes. I just shipped out a pair, a really basic model, went out for about 18, 19 bucks. I was $5 invested, so I try to always clear at least 10 bucks on my shoes. If I can't clear that, I typically won't list it. But like these will probably go for about 30. Nike running shoes anywhere close to that $20 range up to, you get high end. Sold a pair of Kobe Bryant's for $130 a couple weeks ago. What's up, Ashley? Hey, Kat. You were one of the ones that wanted to learn some more about shoes, so I wanted to do this to hang out. What's up, Nikki? But yeah, that was number 2. Going to number 3. It's one shoe company, but it's 2 different styles, very similar to Merrell's, that are Keen. This is a Keen trail sandal. This is a Keen right here. This is a hiking boot. This one actually just sold about 40 minutes ago. This shoe right here, it was in particular women's size 7. Went for 38 bucks. Not bad at all. So went pretty good. But Keen's another one. Big thing you want to check. They typically hold their tread really, really well. Oh, thanks, Ashley. And Dan leaving some stats here. Air Max running. Yeah. 360 or Air Max 95. They're classic sneakers. Heads up looking for it. Yes. Very true. Very true. Just getting everybody the shout out real quick. But yes, Keen's number 3. Like these are listed for 30. I'm getting a lot of low offers today, but it gives you a good chance to counter offer. But like I said, these went for 35. Not too bad. These will probably end up, I'll take an offer about 25 on these, so not too bad. Next, kind of another gimme, but this was a good specific pair. I'm not really talking about specific shoes. I just want to show the specific shoes. These are some Adidas women's trail runners. Good tread. That's something I'll talk about a little more. But Adidas running shoes in general move pretty quick. I sold 2 pair. Yeah, 2 pair today that listed in the last 2 days. So they move pretty fast. Pretty much everything that I'm showing you, because I pulled some orders, they're actually on a pile right there behind me. They have to get packed up tonight, but pretty much what I'm showing you are just examples of what has actually sold in the last weekend. So true, Dan. You're very right with that. A lot of what I've been showing, because I'll kind of show you, there's another thing that I've been showing you so far that I haven't even said that you'll go, oh yeah. But yes, running shoe, trail running shoe, especially trail running, because they're good year round and good to go, globally or across the entire US. Not, you can't just think about your area when you're trying to do that. Kat, how many shoes do I have going out tomorrow? That I've just sold in the last weekend. I can tell you I don't have enough shoe boxes. I had to order 100 more shoe boxes. I think I have 8 pair of shoes going out tomorrow. It was a really, really good sales day today. Oh, total items, I have 12 items heading out. 8 of which are shoes. And that is just from Saturday night and today. So pretty good. Yes, good point there, Dan. Adidas Ultra Boost. So Adidas there. Another gimme, because they make kind of a good running shoe. Asics make a good running shoe, and you can find some grip equivalent of a good trail shoe. I love Asics because they're some of the most creative with their color schemes, things such as that. These have not been cleaned yet. If I can show you a little bit closer, like a lot of this will come off. I'll clean stuff up. And I'll do that kind of next when I get into the examples of what I look for, how I clean. Good job, Kat, crushing it. Kat, I will try to help you out with that. I really will, because you know, going by your location is one of the best tips that I learned from someone. Actually, Dan's cousin, he like corrected me really quick on a thought process. He's out in Colorado. Next, which would be a surprise to you, this is just one brand. It's the most popular brand. Golf shoes. Yes, Dan. Dan knows. Golf shoes. FootJoy, that FJ, great logo to look for, but I also sell Callaway and Nike golf shoes. You know, you just want to find some without scuffs that can clean pretty easy. Cleaning procedures, once again, I'll go over that. Yeah, definitely will, Kat. I like stalking your videos. Yep. But yeah, these golf shoes, if you can find them, you know, and go for those brands, like I said, FootJoy and Nike are going to be the most, you know, when you get them listed, you'll see the most responses to them. They do really well. I got 3 more. Brooks running shoes, another pair that I have not cleaned yet. This was a large women's size 10, which is kind of a sought after size because they're not as common. But Brooks running shoes, I just sold a pair of Brooks. I just put them in the pile. Used Brooks. They just went out for $40 plus shipping. But the highest resale value that I have seen, Hoka's. Hoka One One. Right there. Hoka One One. I just sold a pair of those that we listed Friday night. They sold Saturday for $32.50. We had them listed, I think, for $35. Settled on a counter offer of $32.50. But like these right here, I haven't listed yet. These don't even have the insoles in them, and these will still probably go for about $40 easy. Love it, love it, love it. That is a great question. After I cover this last pair, I will answer that, Yakov, because that's a very good question. Last one, which is pretty much well known across the state, that you can find. These are boots. Yes, they just look like boots, but they have this awesome logo somewhere. Well, I'll just cheat. Red Wing boots. Red Wing boots. If you can see, the toes on these are pretty scuffed up. I'm just going to oil these. Simple oil. And just the way they sit. Which I got these for free. These will hit about 80 to 90 bucks used. Yeah, 80 to 90 bucks. And pretty versatile in all styles. This style is called the Irish setter, which I said I wasn't going to really focus on just what type of style. But Red Wing boots, just because, you know, when you find a shoe store that has its own store, like there's a Red Wing boot store that offers lifetime warranty and they'll fix just about everything on the shoe. I'm not sure if that warranty carries over on a used shoe, but just the fact that they hold that reputation is just incredible. So those are 9 at 9. Just wanted to show those 9. Those are some of my 9 best sellers. Next questions. I'll try to address, Kat, you were talking about what you find in your local area, and that's something that Frank taught me. And then Yakov, I want to get to you as well. So, Kat, what you're saying, hey, you cannot find those around you. The thing that I would best say is, like, what do you find around you? There was something that I found that I actually said in my video, and then Frank commented, and it put it into good perspective for me. I was like, I think I have a pair right here. I was like, who's gonna, I'm in Virginia and it's like going into March. Who's buying snow boots? And he was like, people in Colorado. I was like, well, that's whatever. I'm thinking about it's getting warm here. We need sandals. We need running shoes. And he was like, what do you do global shipping? What about the people that live in colder climates that want to buy shoes just like everybody else? And it got me thinking, and I was like, man, what can I do the best with where I am? Something I was showing earlier, Kat, if I would say probably most likely in your area, sandals such as these, which Keen makes this style, Merrill makes this style. There's about 3 or 4 other companies that make this style. Like, as funky and crazy as they look, pick these up. They are a quick, you know, 20 to 30, $35 summertime shoe that might be more available. I know you're in Florida. I definitely will. I definitely will. But that's one thing I looked for. I was like, man, when I'm going down the aisle, I was like, what did I see a lot of? And of course, as you're learning, check the listings. I'm learning about new shoes kind of on the line and what their value is, because I will typically once a month I'll pick one brand, or I'll search eBay and I'll go boots, men's boots. I'll type that in the caption on eBay and I'll see what names I'm seeing reoccurring in that day's sales. Do the same thing with men's running shoe. I'll do the same thing. But one thing, if you guys didn't pick up on it when I was showing that 9, all but 1 pair out of the 9 that I showed you were women's shoes. That's right. Women buy a lot more stuff than guys online, especially when it comes to shoes. My number one seller are probably women's running shoes. I've tried women's like platforms, like slip-on shoes. I don't know all the names for them. My wife will fuss at me, like Mary Jane style shoes. I've tried boots and things like that, but women's running shoes, I can guarantee that I can sell those every single day. So when you find, especially on the women's racks, another thing that I go for that helps me out, as you saw in some of these, those Hokas and these Asics, I immediately go after these colors. Sometimes that gets me in trouble, but colors, as you clean them, they pop in your pictures. They do really, really well. Yakov, you asked a really good question because there's one more shoe behind me that I'll definitely want to show you. What is the most that I would pay on shoes? That quickly comes down to what it looks like as far as what I have to put into it. I do clean my shoes kind of quickly. Some of them I try to go after shoes. Here's one that's just close to me that I don't have to clean at all. I mean, there's a little dust on the bottom and I'm not going to worry about it. These will go for about 25, 30 bucks. I pay my local Goodwill price of $5.50. That is my average cost on all of my shoes. And so when I buy something for $5.50, I immediately look at it after studying for a long time. I go, will this bring in more than $18 because I'm basing it on fees? I always have the buyer pay for shipping. I don't do free shipping on that. I know Rally Roots, they have a system where they build that into their cost. I have the every single one of my, not every single one, I think on my high end boots or shoes, I do free shipping as an incentive. But on all of my shoes, I have the buyer pay for shipping, and I want to clear my profit off of the shoe at least $10. But it's got to be a profit of $10 to be worth my time. Will I pay more? Yes. I talked about some Kobe Bryants. They were the purple, gold, and black edition, Laker edition, Kobe Bryant mentality. A great shoe. Picked them up for 40 bucks. They were brand new in the box. Like I said, they just sold the other day, 130 plus shipping. So I don't have the boots in here with me, but right behind me, another one that I picked up this weekend. Go buy, if you're at a Goodwill or a thrift store, go to their stuff they have close to the counter. This is a pair of Jordans. I left the tag on there. I haven't listed these yet. Quickly look up. Jordans are a tough one. You do have to know them pretty well to authenticate them, which is going to be running serial numbers, looking for specific markings that are specific to that shoe. As you see on this one, the two back decals are different, or the Jordan logo will be in a weird position, things like that. So I'd say stay away from Jordans unless you can buy them for under $5, just so you don't lose out on any of that. But I was willing, if you can see that there, a big old $20.25, because I instantly looked at these and I said, without me touching these at all, I can get 45 bucks right now on Facebook Marketplace for these as they sit. But with a little bit of TLC, which is a little bit of cleaning here, you guys can't really see it on this camera. I would actually clean the bottoms of these to make that white pop. These would end up, I think, fetching close to 70 bucks. So I'm willing to spend up to make a little bit more. I'm not going to spend 20 bucks to sell these for 30 or 35. It's not worth me making a $10 to $15 profit, then paying the fees and all those things to spend that much. So my average cost is right at that $5.50 point. Do I feel like a teacher here? I need some good interaction with you all, so I don't feel like so teachery moment. But I will point out, I'll show you a bad pair of shoes that I got that I shouldn't have. They're a good shoe, but take your time when you're looking over your shoes. Yes, they are, Dan. Yes, those are the good old Spike, the Spizikes. That's whose photos on the back of them. This is a awesome pair of Nike Vomero 8. Haven't cleaned these because I noticed something when I went to clean them. This is my protocol that I have to stay on myself when looking for shoes. So instantly I pick up, because of color, style, the first thing that I look at is tread on the bottom. These are dirty, but every single piece is on here. I quickly check all the quick edges where they're gonna separate and flap a little bit and talk to you. That's usually right here on the toe. both sides, and the heel here. That's typically where the glue would wear out first, or where people have the wear and tear on there. These passed with flying colors. The next one for myself, because I don't keep a lot, I probably should keep a lot of extra shoelaces, but like I want the original shoelaces if I can, especially like this. This is a matching color shoelace. I checked these, the ends. Somebody will ding you for your laces being busted. They will ding you big time. The laces were good on these. I was so excited, and I was holding them by the handle. These are women's shoes. I was like, man, these will sell really quick. And then I didn't check right there. Whoever was wearing this leaned heavy on both inner ankles, or wore these with some, I don't know, leather cuffed jeans that eroded the bottom portion, or the top portion right here by those. Now, even some high-end shoes will still sell at that price, but for me, I could get haggled down to where I paid $550 for these. I could get haggled down to where somebody, is going to haggle me down to where I'm barely covering fees. And it's also for the reputation that I want to sell shoes that I'm going to get a repeat person to come back and say, do they have more shoes in my size? I'm already starting to see that, which is really awesome. But so something like these, I don't want to send out because I don't want that to represent the quality of everything else that I have. So I am willing to possibly take a loss on them. They can go back to Goodwill. If I bought this one other pair of shoes and I sold that pair of shoes for $20, I'm not at a loss for the day. But these, we're actually hosting a big yard sale at our house as soon as it doesn't threaten to rain on a Saturday. And these will probably go in the yard sale pile. And if I get $5 back for them, awesome. Like I said, the tread's really good on them. I just won't sell them in that area. Next. Is this helping any of you? I hope so. And if I'm going too fast, tell me to slow down. I'll show you some more. See, Dan knows. You guys got to follow up with Dan. Dan is the man. He knows all the good stuff. Next, if you guys are enjoying this, next will be cleaning. And I did an example shoe, a pair of shoes that I picked up today, not with the intention of using it for this. I just told my wife, I said, we should probably run to a thrift store. I mean, when she says yes, that's why I love her so much, because I don't know why she says yes. I'm a full-time pastor. We were getting done with our services this morning, and I said, we got to run to Walmart anyway. Let's run to a thrift store that I know is open today. So these were right on the shelf. These are, Dan, let's see how fast you can find these. Kat, I'm going to show you that you do have time if you make it a cleaning party. You do a bunch at a time, it'll save you so much. And I'll show you both of these shoes because I'll show you what I did at the end of dinner, sitting at the table in under 10 minutes, just to show you an example, because I did a superb job on these as far as sales go. I picked up this Brooks Glycerin 15 Super DNA. It's a size 10, standard width running shoe. Comps on these are 35 to 50. I picked these up. They were asking $4.98. I got to the top. Up top. I got to the counter, and she says, those are just basic shoes. You can have them for $1.98. So it's $2 invested. This is what the shoe looked like. That's how the laces were looking. You can see a little bit of yellowing right here on the sole. Little brown. I got good lighting in here. but a little brown on the bottom. Typically, I won't mess with this, but just for video sake, I will show you this. But I quickly was analyzing shoestrings, good tread, no major tears, no separation, man, no damage, awesome. So after dinner, I'll do a side by side just to show you. There's no magic here. This was a quick under 10-minute cleaning job. That's just the bottom. There's that side and that side. So I cleaned the white around the edges right there. See you, Dan. What's up, Frank? Just going over some shoe remedies and doing some other Q&A. But yeah, so got them white around there. Did a quick little, oh, wrong one, wipe down on the emblem. Once I do this to the other one, I could have done both of these in under 10 minutes. They will be ready to list. I'm going to ask 39 bucks. They'll probably go for that asking price or $35 for a $2 investment and about 8 minutes of cleaning. Let me show you my high profile cleaning service. Just because you'll laugh at me. Thanks to Harry Tornado Josh. I found this for $3.75 at Big Lots. OxyClean Max Force. A Dollar Tree brush. That's if it's really bad. I have 2 of them in my hand because I was in here cleaning shoes. Magic eraser. And a towel. There's my shoe cleaning kit. Magic eraser is good because if a shoe has, like these bad boys here, these foot joys, just clean that toe right up. Didn't clean anything else on the bottom. These were a 4-minute wipe down, and it's a game changer. It'll take your shoe sale. You don't have to clean your shoes. That's another thing that Rally Roots definitely talks about. Hey, if they don't have a shoe that's going over a certain price, they don't clean them. I just, and that's just a personal thing. Everybody can run their own store the way they want to. Just for myself, I'm just like, man, I want somebody to get that and to not just get what they expect, but to go, wow, man, these look newer than I thought. These look better than I thought. Only because I want to see that person come back. And I'm starting to do that, especially on some of the running shoes. I'm seeing reoccurring people. I got a message the other day. Hey, I already got this from you. I came back to get something else. Those are really, really cool, fun things to find. But that's my total cleaning gear. I spray this on there. Now, if I have shoes that are really valuable and really bad, I do have a pair of shoes that I have to run through the washing machine again. But I literally sprayed this down, sprayed it on there, scrubbed it, threw it in the washing machine. A little more work, but those shoes will probably go for about 160. But most of these shoes here, I wipe it down with a magic eraser. I clean the soles of it. If I want to be really nice and they're really grody on the bottom, I clean the bottom. And now I don't have to list them for 20 bucks. I can list them for $32.99. Or Kat, the way you do it. I love the way you do it sometimes. You'll list stuff and set it for whatever the time is. So right now, they would go for $32.44. And it's just really fun. It's just really fun. For me, it's a good, it helps pass the time. So the system that I work out with my wife, because she's so awesome, is what we're going to start doing is I'll clean probably 9-10 shoes at a time. And then I'll hand those off to her. She'll create the listing for them in the eBay app. She'll save it as a draft. Then I will go back and do all the photos, plug the photos in, boom, send them all out. It's 10 listings, 10 shoes. Even on the low end, if I'm asking 20 bucks a pair, I am $5.50 invested on 10 shoes, so I am 55 bucks. That's a good store name. Dirty Nike shoes. But As I was saying, I'd be $55 invested all in on 10 pair. This was $3.75. A pack of Magic Erasers is $4. And I will. How many did I say? 10. I'd make $200. So after all said and done, and an hour's worth of time total on 10 pair, if I took my time and spent an hour's worth of time, I'm clearing 100. Even if you calculate my time into that, a profit of $120. I have the buyer pay for all the shipping. That's on 10 pair. And that's, like I said, low end, $20 a pair. For what I have going out, like I have, I think $400 going out tomorrow. I'm gonna catch up with Cat. No, a lot of my shoes I don't even do washing machine. If they're really bad, I do washing machine. I typically do this. I wipe them down. Pretty simple. Oh, I priced $99, so I know if it's an offer I sent by ending. That's really smart. Yep. That's a good point, Yakov. Sometimes on like a shoe like this, on these Asics, you could actually split some of this stuff tumbling around in the washing machine. But yeah, that was just some of or you can get one of the old-fashioned ones that just goes around and around really slow. But I will tell you, this stuff works some miracles. OxyClean Max Force, spray it directly on the rag, or I spray it directly on the sole. I even take my finger sometimes and just wipe it down the edge. 5 minutes later, take a wet cloth, wipe it off. It's done. Yes, Kat, if you don't mind sharing, what leather wipes do you use? Because I have a few pair of leather boots that I am, and I'm pretty sure that would work the same as the purses and stuff. So yes, if you could comment what leather cleaner that is, because I'm looking for something good that won't turn the leather a darker shade, because some of them I want them to have that distressed look, but I don't want them to go darker to fix those blemishes. I've seen one by Red Wing. It's a Red Wing clear cream. Yakov sharing the love, sharing the info. I appreciate that, man. Martine Baum. Like I said, I went over the 9 with you. There's quite a few more. I'm like, I got some Timberlands on the floor I haven't sold yet. And Kat, I don't know what you were talking about. I remember that comment earlier. Have I seen your death pop? Yes. Yes, I have. But I will tell you, shoes are just a good, and that's for me. That's not for everybody. They're a good, consistent seller. Doc Martens. There we go. But yeah, Kat, I will do that. I'll quickly show you what I have listed. I can't show you what I can show you a small pile of what I don't have listed. But right over here, that's a listed pile of shoes. It is not organized at all. This whole bin right here is a listed pile of shoes. Everything that I showed you there, what I have on top of that bin is what's going out. And I have a tote and a IKEA bag full of shoes in the living room that I have not listed. I just ordered 100 of the USPS shoebox, the free shoe boxes that they send out, because like I said, I think I have 8 pair going out, and I have 5 boxes. So thankfully, I have some other boxes that are about that shoe box size that'll work out really well. Kat, thank you. You're giving me homework that I want to do. I want to check your sourcing videos. I have to do it like, I have to just like pause it a few times and get that watch time up too. Just to see what's kind of on the rack that if I can identify through, the camera lens. Thanks for showing your awesome GoPro backpack also. That thing looked pretty sweet. It really did. I let someone from work borrow my clip, and it returned to me broken. I was a little upset, but I Jimmy rigged it. So they broke off the little clip end that held the camera. So I got one of the sticky pads, and I stuck it on there, because this is my clip that goes on my backpack, and it rotates 360 for me, and I can rotate the GoPro. So I fixed that. I still have to go out and test to see if it works. The video I did with my son yesterday, that's why it was shaky cam the whole time I was driving and holding it in my hand, and it was bad. It was really bad. My son definitely wants to give you all like the hugest shout out. I was sharing with him, everybody telling him bye, and he was just super excited. I think he's walked around our house saying he wants to talk to the YouTube family. He loves you all. You guys have just been so supportive. Hanging out with this channel, he wants to just kind of jump on all the time now, but we'll see how that goes. Does anybody have any questions? I'll drop this in. If anybody wants to jump in the chat, you totally can, from right where you are. Yeah, it was a really, really good sales day. Yeah, I'm double checking right now. Yeah, $403 going out. Not too bad at all. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, looks like 8 pair of shoes. A couple other little thing. Oh, YouTube channel, where was I talking about? So if you're wanting to find like where I've got some of my information on shoes, have been Rally Roots. We'll go over it a few times. They're pretty big channel. They do a lot of vintage clothing, but they love to sell shoes. Harry Tornado, his name's Josh. I like that name. It's a good name. It's another great one to check out. And then there is another one, if somebody can remember, in the chat. If somebody in the chat. There's a couple. They sell a lot. They only do shoes. I've been watching them recently. They did a couple live. They have another combined name, kind of like Rally Roots. I can't remember. But they are another channel. I'll try to get somebody to link them in here. So we're going to have a couple guests join us. I'm going to have both of you on here at the same time just to have some fun. So please welcome Mr. Yakov and Kat. There's
Flip. Where am I?
Awesome. Wow.
Oh my gosh. So Josh, hit the
Thank you,
thing
Marie.
with, like,
Renzi.
the other screen to make us like square.
Let me find it.
Keep clicking.
Sort of okay now.
She knows this better than
I still have to click at the beginning of it. Yeah, that one.
That's better. That's better.
So look,
Hello.
I'm going to show you, because you haven't watched my video. So just watch my mess back there for a minute. Hold on.
By the way, you were looking for Renzi.
Renzi. Yes, thank you for sharing that. Renzi. And Marie shared it in there. Yes. Renzi is a great couple. They just did a live chat to talk about.
Oh man, she has
They
shoes.
got a bulk of shoes for like $2.98 a pair.
I'm gonna show them. So look, so you
Yeah.
didn't see my video. I don't know if Yakov saw it. So I picked
Yeah,
up 3 pairs of shoes.
Okay.
So these these are more like what I see. Like I don't see
Yeah.
nice tennis shoes here.
Okay.
But I didn't notice till I watched my video. This guy must have like crossed his legs a lot. Do you see that?
Where he just scuffed them.
You're gonna need
Yeah,
like shoe
but
polish or
they're
something.
made in Brazil and I paid $3.
Okay.
So I
Well,
think I still might be okay.
so do you find a lot of dress shoes, Kat?
I see a lot of dress shoes, but I don't
Okay.
know brands to look for. And then
All right.
these comped out good. So these are SAS.
Okay. Yep.
SAS
Those
are
are pretty
good.
good.
Yeah, but they're like decent shape. So these were $3. But these are soft steps, so I could like research that. Like if they say stuff, I can look it up, you know?
Yeah. My wife beat me to the punch because I'm gonna show you these two that I picked up. So of course you've probably heard
Dalton
him talk
handing
about
it
it.
back to me. And then
Kohan.
yeah, what are they?
Kohan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen some. Like I always look for like Italy and Brazil. Like those were made in Brazil. Like
Yeah,
I know the countries that I know sell well.
Yeah, Kohan, typically on their dress shoes, they have a Nike Air logo on the bottom.
Okay.
Kohan's one. There's a lot out there on the market, so the prices are dropping a little bit.
I gotta go, guys.
Oh,
You gotta
hi,
go, Jakob.
Bye, Jakob.
Sorry, food just came.
Sorry, Jakob.
Sorry, I'll be back eventually.
All right, man. Thank you, because you're awesome.
Have a good one. Good night.
All right, thanks, man.
Just like that, he's gone.
This other one, if you can see it, Echo, ECCO.
Okay, I don't think I've seen that one. I need to look, but I see tons of men's dress shoes, tons, all the time.
Okay. I've sold some of the like popular and also what's worked really well for me in men's dress shoes. Once again, if you find anything like 9.5 to 11.5, those some I meant to cover earlier, 9.5 to 11.5 do well. But for me, like size 13.
Yeah, these are 9.5 triple E.
Yeah, those should do really, really well.
I mean, they're a little scuffed, but overall they look pretty decent. And I haven't wiped them with the leather wipes. I don't know if that'll help, but Dalton keeps throwing shoes at me. That's why I'm like fending off shoes.
Hey,
so these I think were like my best pickup from my whole thrift.
Yes. No, you will probably low end still get $40 for this. 40 to 45.
Yeah, they were comping at like 55, I think. And like look at the bottom, like they're decent.
Well, that right there, that Vibram logo. Vibram
Where?
is like
I
yellow,
see it. That
Vibram is they cover like some of the Merrells, like the bottom of the Merrells and stuff. If you find Merrells or Keens
with that,
if you find if you find that Vibram logo, they supplied I forgot how many years of the military boots. Like they made all the soles of the boots because they don't wear.
And these are 9.5 wide.
Yes, those will probably sell pretty quickly.
But I paid up, so like, do you see?
12. Yeah.
But like the sell-through rate was great. That's why I was like, I'm gonna get them.
Yeah, no, they sell really, really well. And Babette Perkins down in Texas, yeah, she says Echo is a great brand. Yeah, Echo is one that I actually saw in Rally Roots, and I was like, Echo, I know like the Echo
ECKO. Yeah,
and like you're not gonna get more than $10. But I found this Echo brand, and they make like a casual loafer. They make dress shoes, and they comp at anywhere from like $35 to $60. So they go pretty well.
Yeah, those I see, and I don't know if people just aren't bringing them to the thrift store. I know where I live, they're probably wearing them out because that's what I do. Like we're in the country, so they're wearing
Gotcha.
the shoes till they can't be worn anymore.
I know
But
when you commented on the video and you were like, "I'm an hour away from Goodwill."
yeah, I
My
have
wife
my
and I,
little local thrift store here, and they just like I find Walmart brand, and the ones an hour away though are like almost snowbird and retiree area, so they're
okay.
not wearing like all those in style like tennis shoes.
Can you
So that's
find
why I
golf
like the
shoes?
SAS. I haven't seen any, and I know to pick up golf shoes.
Because I
I
was
picked
gonna
up
say,
a really nice pair of Adidas at a garage sale that look almost new, and they haven't sold. Maybe I think I have them down to like $26 though.
really?
Yeah, and they're
Um,
really nice with the soft spikes like that.
okay. I've been the same way. Dan was saying earlier. He was like, "Yeah, he feels like Adidas does well. I do better with FootJoy and Nike for golf shoes."
Those I find at the yard sales and estate sales, but I haven't found golf shoes at the thrift store. It's almost all like those little old lady, like the sash shoes, like the walking shoes.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think, like I'm surprised those boots were there, but then and like the men's dress shoes. Like
Do
that's
you?
about all that I see. Now the one in town that where the college is, I don't know if you watched my last thrifting video. There's
Yeah.
only a small shoe section, and then the rest are throughout the whole big store on the top of the
Yeah.
clothes
Yeah.
rack. Where like
Yeah.
it's at like this level for me, so I can't like easily see the shoes, and I'd have to walk the whole store.
All right. Since you do have snowbirds, do you?
Brad said I do anyways. Walk the whole store.
Um, do you find shape ups?
Find what?
Shape ups.
I haven't. I saw one pair actually at this one, but they looked really raggedy, so I didn't pick them up. Like
Gotcha.
I mean, like not
Yeah.
cleanable,
Like
even
a
if
little
I
too
wanted
rough.
to clean them.
All right. Babette said nursing shoes. She's very accurate there.
I don't see them, and of course, I know like the stuff I use. I know to look for. Like I look at
Yep.
scrubs, I look at shoes, like nursing. Like I know the Danskos, which I hate to wear, but also, Babette, if you don't know, I wear soft walks that look almost exactly like Dansko, and they cost as much as Dansko, but they are soft walks. And I don't know if I can convince Dalton. Go get one of mommy's work shoes. Can you go get one of mommy's work shoes? Go get one of my shoes.
And then these, they do pretty well. This is it's a kind of an off brand, but it was in such good shape. It's a rubber sole, Mary Jane style, flowery leather print. I think it's made in Mexico.
I feel like I would look at that, like if I saw it.
Okay, if you see them, they're easy.
I really think I'm just having crap. And now the men's dress shoes, though, I need to learn how to pick them out because I definitely see tons of those. Go get one of mommy's shoes. Go get one of mommy's work shoes. Please.
Asper says she hates Dansky.
So the Dansko are so uncomfortable if you like. So Softwalk makes wide shoes that look exactly like Dansko's. But Dansko doesn't have wide.
You hit on another good subject though. If you can find any of the shoes in a wide,
yeah,
like your listing will go 10 times higher than anybody else's.
What is that triple E? Do you know what the triple E is?
What's the
dress
brand?
Shoes? That's those leather Brazil shoes.
Okay.
They're Giorgio Brunini.
Okay. Typically, I do quick Google lists for all that, but triple E in most standard size is an extra wide.
Okay, so these might be really good too if they ignore the wear that I didn't see. But I've seen some expensive shoes like that still like will sell high.
They do. They do. When I found these Red Wing boots, if you ever find like construction workers and stuff like that, like these toes are busted,
But they
but
don't care.
they do not care. I can literally put like olive oil on these and
Baby, tell
slap
them to get
$89.99. Because with leather, they want, dress shoes not as much, but especially boots when you find them. A lot of people just want the rugged looking boot.
right. And I mean, if they're wearing them for work, like that's the one thing. Like I won't buy work shoes used. I just won't, because I know
Right.
how much I wear them, and I know I'm working 12-hour days. I'm standing on my feet, and I bought a couple that people said like they wore once or twice, which could have been a lie, but you can tell looking at the insoles, you can tell how much stuff's been worn. So for
Right.
me, like when it comes to my feet, when I'm standing on them for 12 hours, I want good shoes.
Well, Kat, since you helped me out so much, and I know other people will jump on this, so I'll try to send you some good links that'll help you for shoes on Instagram.
Like people?
No, where you can
Or
purchase
you're going
a
to send
lot.
me it on Instagram?
Yeah, where you
Okay.
can get lots of shoes. I passed up on one. It was an auction in Kentucky. It was a box
Oh,
of
like lots?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
one just went for $3.
I don't know if you've watched my what sold. So like
Yep.
my QVC palette was mixed between shoes and clothes, and over half of those shoes were Vionics. And they sold we still have a few pair, but not many, and I was only like $5 in, and they are $50 a pair, like all day long.
Awesome.
But the problem is, like, I still have over 50 pairs of jeans out there that haven't sold. So I haven't looked at the QVC because they mix them like that a lot. But if you could find one from them, they do Isaac Mizrahi too. Those shoes sell really good, and a bunch of Fly London. I only know those because they came on the QVC palette. So I researched the brand, and they had like the style, so I knew. But I mean, I didn't pay more than $5 a pair, but I bought, hundreds of pairs. But they were all new.
Yeah, and Babette said something good that's a good question. Only buy nurse shoes new. She said college town with students, get them and never use them. I was wondering, do you get a lot of college students?
Just threw a ball at my head. Sorry.
He keeps you on your toes.
No. Don't throw that ball at mommy's phone. Sorry. He's still throwing.
He's like, no, mom, I'm gonna get your attention now. But do you get a lot of college students like kind of where you are in kind of your field of work? Do they have like in the nursing program? I haven't
seen the nursing shoes. Not my slippers. They don't care about my slippers. My work shoes. This isn't working. So like I haven't I have found quite a bit of scrubs that were new, not used, but I think most of like the nursing schools at least, like the one I went to now requires them to have like white or black shoes, so you're not going to find like the cute frilly. They can't wear them. They're not allowed while they're in school, and I think most of the nurses that are nurses are going to wear them. And if not, they're not donating them because they'll sell them like to people at work for almost as much as they paid. From what I've seen.
That is true.
Yeah, not your shoe. Okay, Dalton wants you to see his shoes.
Oh, Dalton.
Okay, give mommy that. So look, like these. Look how much I wore them.
Oh yeah.
That's the old pair. These aren't being worn anymore. I need to throw them out. But these are Grey's Anatomy soft lock. Like that's what those look like.
Yeah, you can't see the logo anymore.
But they look almost like Danskos. Yeah. Like they're all shiny and frilly, and they see your shoe, I promise.
Yeah, that's what my son did in our video yesterday. After we picked up so many shoes, he wanted to show off his shoes.
So. Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. Don't throw it at the phone.
What's up, Dalton?
Yes, he
How you
sees it.
doing, buddy?
Yeah, show him your shoe. Mom,
Dalton, you looked really cool when you were dancing in the car, buddy.
were you dancing?
Yeah, he was getting down.
I know. I see Daddy's game on the computer.
But yeah, no, I picked up that pair of Brooks today, and it was the only thrift store that was open because Goodwill around here is still closed on Sunday and Monday. But yeah, these were $2.
Yeah,
They'll go for about 40.
that was at Goodwill or a like different thrift store.
It's a different thrift store. And then I picked up a laundry basket of yarn, like just bundles of yarn.
Yarn. Oh, but not like with the paper where you know the brand.
Yeah, no, with the paperware. So yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what it's called, the skein.
Skeins. Yeah.
So this lady gave me a laundry basket full of, I think I got 15 or 20 in there, and she gave it to me for $5. So
Yeah,
couldn't argue
I
with that.
tried. I was like, so this, I don't think this lady wanted to sell. Maybe her husband was trying to make her sell or something. I saw some on Marketplace and she had 8 big Rubbermaid totes full of yarn, and she had them listed for $3 a piece. And like not the bins, the actual yarn for $3. And but I mean, you can typically sell the vintage for like 5, sometimes up to 10 a skein. And but she said like cheaper if you got it in bulk. And so I offered her I think she told me 50 per bin. And I was like, I'll give you 40. And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll give you 50 if I can keep the bin. And she's like, no, you can't have the bin. And I'm like, you don't want to sell. Like, if you wanted to sell this, like, I'm offering you $400, you know, for 8 bins. And stop, dude. Stop.
Yeah, she didn't want to sell it.
No. And like, and then I saw it was not for sale. And I'm like, there's no way that somebody else, like, stop, son. Don't throw your shoe at breakables.
I've been selling yarn like crazy.
Throw it in. For how much?
Let me pull it up here because I know I got one going out.
Are you selling individual or are you lotting it?
I lot them up 2 to 3.
That's what I did with most, was 3. 3 seemed, I think I asked my friend who knits, and she said a lot of like projects they can do with 3 of them. So if you have 3 of the same color.
Yeah, like these are 3 reds, and they went for $22 plus shipping.
Yeah.
And I think I picked them up from Goodwill for $4 for all 3.
I checked Marketplace. That's where I found that lady with the totes. And then there was another lady that was a nurse, and she like wouldn't come off the price at all. I think she was buying and reselling, like maybe buying them wholesale.
And then something else you helped me with was Monster High.
Oh yeah.
A lady gave me a trash bag. She gave me a trash bag full for $5.
That's crazy. And I don't know if you're going to take the time. I didn't take the time to look up their names. I still have a lot. So, I mean, I probably would do better if I found their names.
Well, I kind of did the same thing. I looked up one just because he was fully complete, like outfit, accessory, and all. It was one of the guys. That one went.
I think the guys are probably easier to identify, though, right? Because there's less of them.
Yeah, but the other ones, there were 3 missing body parts, and then the other ones, and I have them up for auction right now at. I think I started at $20, and it's 8 of them, but it's got 6 watchers on it, so.
Yeah, I might do that because I already hit the profit. Dude, stop throwing shoes at me.
Yeah, I remember when you listed a few of those and they went pretty well.
Yes, they went fast and like the lot's paid for, so I'd probably be better to pull. Stop. I'm being like, he's over and over throwing shoes at me.
He's like, it's a game now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, yeah, the monster
So
highs do well.
the
It had a
yarn
few
though,
wins.
you could probably find on Marketplace cheap too. I looked and it sucks because I'm in the middle of nowhere, so almost everything's an hour to drive. So I have to think like that lady, it was worth it because it was 8 totes full. But somebody that just has like 1 tote full, is that bring your chair and sit and let's work. Sit down so they can see you.
You're up further north by the Panhandle, correct?
No, so I'm like right at the crook. Like we live 30 minutes from Cedar Key from the ocean. But I'm an hour from Gainesville, which is where I work, University of Florida. And we're an hour from Ocala, which would be like the next closest. All of the bigger cities, which is typically where most of the auctions are 2 hours. So like Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Orlando, Tampa are all 2 hours. So when we go yard sailing, we actually go down towards where like Ryan and Allie are. We go down towards Tampa because my husband's from down there. So we'll like yard sail along the way, go visit his mom. If we leave early enough, pick her up and she comes yard sailing with us and then like hang out with them, have dinner, and then go home. That's what we did Friday.
My wife's being so awesome. She said she's going to hop off so she can draft some listings. She's a rock star.
That's what I was doing before I hopped on. I was listing bowls.
Well, the good news, we might be able to catch up with you. I think we're gonna be down in Tampa the last week of July.
Oh yeah, that's close because it's like he's mad. I got him back with the shoes. He didn't like it. I'm
gonna add in Dan the man, who's like the biggest supporter who doesn't resell. He's just a big supporter. Dan, you ready?
I know. Yeah, Dan got my Kermit.
Hey Josh.
Hi, Dan.
Hey,
what's
Kat.
up, Dan?
I don't know if Dan watched it, so I got Kermit's. Right now it's still, where is it? Oh, it's still Pooh up there right now. But I got a really cool Cat in the Hat at my Thrift Friday. So, and he's pretty big, so I'm gonna put him up.
I think I saw did you have it in the thumbnail or I saw something?
It was in the buggy in the thumbnail, yeah.
Okay, that's what I saw. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I went back to the thrift store where I found that Invader Zim.
No, you're not brushing my hair.
And if you find any Invader Zim stuff, plush.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
It was a Nickelodeon cartoon.
Oh, I think I remember seeing you do it. Show it.
The cartoon only had 2 seasons, but it's got this crazy cult following right now. I threw it on there for $60 and I got an offer of $50 plus shipping, like in a day.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was like, yeah, if I can go find any more of this stuff. Dan, how have you been, man?
Good. Like, I things in Colorado have they're not back to, normal by any means, but there's some level of normalcy. We're probably about 2 or 3 weeks in now where like restaurants are actually taking dine-in, but it's reservation only and, a limited capacity and stuff.
They just allowed us to go into restaurants this Friday.
Nice.
And we're still at 50%.
Okay.
So the crazy thing here, like one of my coworkers actually stopped and was talking to me about it tonight. So we're like the thrifts are open, but they're closing at 6 instead of 7 in Gainesville in town. And our hospital is they've been only allowing 1 visitor. I know some hospitals were allowing none. Ours been allowing 1 per like patient, like the whole duration. You've got to pick 1 person and that's it. But tomorrow they're going to 2 visitors per patient, which it sucks. Like, so these dads, I saw my friend, her baby's in the NICU and dad saw the baby at birth, but once she was discharged, dad has not been allowed back in, only mom.
Wow.
And so tomorrow though, they're going to get to go in. and the restaurants and bars are at 50%. But the crazy thing is, our COVID number is climbing exponentially every day. And we're like, why are we loosening everything up when the COVID number is climbing like at the fastest rate it has? It makes no sense.
Y'all spiked 1,400 more in the last 3 days.
Yeah, it's crazy. And they're letting, like, why are they loosening all this stuff up when the number, it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Like when they were lower, they wouldn't let you do anything. And now the numbers are climbing and they're like, okay, go do everything. Like the zoo is back open. I looked because we have passes. Unfortunately, they were rioting on the road that the zoo's on down in Tampa. So we didn't feel safe going down there because I was going to take Dalton last week.
That's why we're waiting till the end of July. We were like, let's let things calm down a little bit.
Yeah, like I didn't even think of it. I was like, oh, let me check if the zoo's open, and they are. It's by reservation only, kind of like Walt Disney World's doing. And then like later I'm like, wait, like I was watching some of the videos and I saw them on Fowler where Busch Gardens is, and that's where the zoo is too. And I was like, okay, never mind. Like, let's not go to the zoo.
Yeah, you would think that Florida, real quick, Josh and Kat, you would think Florida being a place where a lot of people go to retire, so you have a lot more elderly people, they would be more on the cautious side, with this whole thing, because they tend to be the higher at risk ones, right?
Yeah.
So that just really surprises me.
Well, the good report that I did see on everything is that they were saying now even the positive cases, though, are not getting the severe symptoms.
Good.
So maybe that's why I haven't really read.
It was only one report that I saw quickly, and they were just saying the warmer weather was actually helping a little bit. Flu-like symptoms were down in positive cases. They're still mandating the quarantine for 14 days, but it wasn't like symptomatic to where I think death toll was down, even though positive cases were up, which was
So I was surprised. The first person I worked with today, I was because I'm on a different floor every day, and one of the girls I work with was just talking, and she's like, oh yeah, I was out the whole month of April with COVID and blah 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 blah. I'm like, wait, what? Like, what did you just say? And but the crazy thing with our hospital, so the only way they'll say you got it from the hospital, like from work, is if you had contact with a patient who was not positive, who was later found positive. Otherwise, they aren't paying. So like she was out the whole month unpaid.
Oh wow.
And she had a coworker who was positive, which is probably where she got it from, but they still won't, like, they don't link that to it and they don't pay you, which is crazy. To me, that's crazy. Like, I would be mad if that were me.
Well, Dan, in other news, I'm still holding out hope, okay? A Sun Mountain push cart.
Okay, nice.
Down the street. Marketplace, he wants $50 for it. So
you know what's interesting about Sun Mountain push carts? If they're newer models, they make them so that they're compatible with Sun Mountain bags. So you may want to understand which model it is. I mean, most bags will fit on a given cart, but they make them specifically for certain types of Sun Mountain bags. So, but they're solid.
Is that
they're
golf
good.
stuff?
Yeah, golf, push carts. Like, since I've discovered those in the last couple months on auctions, my brother-in-law picked up a Sun Mountain for $22. He shipped it out.
I think I saw. Didn't I see it? And I asked you how you shipped it. I think.
Well, that was the one I grabbed. Right? Yeah, the one I grabbed was a Click Gear, and that one ended up going out plus shipping for all in all $410, and it went out FedEx. I Frankenstein 2 boxes around it and like stuffed it with cardboard. But the Sun Mountain, my brother got it. I ended up going out for $330. It wasn't bad.
Was it a 3-wheel or a 4-wheel?
3-wheel.
Okay.
You got to stick that so they can see you.
Yeah, most newer push carts they fold up so they fit in the trunks and stuff. So they are much smaller when you can for shipping wise.
Yeah, it was under 25 pounds, and it collapsed into a box smaller than like a space heater. Like,
Nice.
Cat, and since you were mentioning snowbirds, that might be something that you see on Marketplace quite often.
I haven't seen any, but I haven't looked, so I could look.
Okay.
I thought about going like Kevin, like Commonwealth Picker does, like to
Yeah.
the golf places and like
Oh,
their
yeah.
lost and found stuff.
Yeah.
And he buys the lost and found from the, because like we have one course here actually in my little town, surprisingly. Stop.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, Kevin does pretty good with that. But Dan, how have you been, man? Like, how was that salad, by the way? Salmon Caesar?
It was killer. It was the first time she made it that way. And I'm not a huge salad person anyway. I mean, if I'm getting a salad, I want it to be like as most non-salad as it can be, like a chef salad with a bunch of stuff in it, you know, right? But yeah, she made it. It's all homemade, everything. I mean, it was awesome. So that's a good job.
That's awesome, man.
It's something about the contrast of like a cold salad's kind of, to me, is kind of basic and plain. But if you get a cold salad with some nice hot salmon on it, some kind of protein, great combo.
I do like sliced flank steak, stuff like that on salad. Like, super good.
Yeah, we've been grilling a lot, doing a lot of cooking out and stuff, because it's been hot here. We've been like in like the low 90s in Colorado. It's been like on average 15 degrees higher than the average at this time of year for us.
Yeah, we've been getting the Florida humidity the last weekend. It's been like sweaty hot. No breeze, no nothing.
I did golf this morning though. I've been golfing every weekend. So,
man, my buddies, see, I play disc golf, and they're all mad at me because I run to estate sale pickups or on the first in line at the thrift store. And they're like, "When are you gonna come out and play?" And I'm like, "When are you gonna come out and make $500 this weekend?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm just in sales the last month and a half are paying for our entire vacation to Florida."
Nice.
So, I was like, I'm making little goals, and I do want to hang out with you guys, but it's after I have an employee or something.
They're going to Disney with
what I want to get to. But yeah,
cool. Yeah, but things have been good.
Good, man.
When are you supposed to get your pool, Dan?
Oh, I was just gonna say, Kat. So it's been like a 2-month delay because of COVID and everything. We basically started the whole, because we bought a house back in August, and we bought it specifically for the lot to put an in-ground pool in the backyard. Nice. And so we did all the research, and they're actually more common in Colorado than I thought. Because you think Colorado, it's cold here, you can't have a year-round pool. Well, you can if you wanted to, but you'd have to pay to have it heated, in the wintertime.
Right.
And so you're paying like $500 in utilities just to heat your pool a month.
Wow.
Easily.
That's crazy.
So we did all our research, and we basically, got under contract with the pool, company back in, I think, November or December. And they told us, once the ground starts to soften and warm up a little bit, we can start the project. And so we were thinking like maybe end of March, early April to start it. And they told us it'd be about a 6-week start to finish. And that's estimating on the, longer end, hope that they can pull it in. Well, with all this going on, everything got delayed, and they finally broke ground last week on Thursday. So,
nice.
And that was just the initial prep. They got to scrape stuff and dig and do all the stuff. So the real heavy lifting will start next week. And the pool is supposed to be, because it's a fiberglass kind of a shell that they just drop in, and it's supposed to be here on Thursday, the 11th, I believe. So
okay, so coming up.
Oh yeah,
that's this coming Thursday. Yeah.
Yep. So that means if everything goes as planned, we should have everything done by mid-July, is what I'm hoping. So we'll still have some good.
And then what? Like, when does it start getting cold there?
It depends from year to year, but on average, it'll be mild, and it's all relative, right? If I tell you numbers, you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, that's freezing," right? From Florida or southern states, but. And the thing too with Colorado, we're such high elevation. I live just 30 minutes north of Denver, so the Mile High City. So that's 5,280 feet above sea level. So when the sun is out, it's more intense. You feel it a lot more. So any sun, I mean, it could be a day that's 40 degrees outside, and if it's sunny, it actually feels comfortable, which is weird to say, but it's true. It's more intense. So you got to wear sunscreen here, and you got to be careful because,
Wow.
But as far as when it starts to drop, I'd say late September, October, it starts to cool off for sure. I mean, those are like ideal temps.
Okay, so I mean, you'll have some time.
Oh yeah, and
Like,
we've had.
I know when we went to Tennessee, it was like 30 degrees and it didn't feel that cold. I think that's because I'm used to the humidity here, and I think it was like drier
Oh yeah.
in Tennessee, like in the mountains, and so it didn't feel that cold to me. Like we went out and went in the hot tub and didn't like.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was still cold, but I probably couldn't have done that in Florida in 29-degree weather. There's no way.
Yeah.
The Tennessee cold is a nice dry cold.
Yeah.
And it's comfortable to like still you want to go for a walk in the park, and plus the same thing if the sun is kind of coming down, you feel like it's a nice 55-degree day. Like it doesn't feel bad at all. Our bad thing that we're experiencing here in Virginia, since we're kind of on that line of like we can get a crazy snowfall year. Sorry, not compared to you, Dan, but crazy for us. This year we didn't have the ground freeze one time at all this winter. So like every insect repellent or home defense company is basically like flashing out the claws for stopping ticks and mosquitoes. It is like horrible. It's been horrible even starting last month. And we just never got a freeze at all this past winter. And typically that's
crazy. We were in the teens. Like we got down to like 18.
No,
because I'm in North Florida. I'm not down in South Florida. Like I'm pretty close to Georgia. Like I'm up north.
Yeah.
How far are you from like Jacksonville?
2 hours. That's where I grew up.
Okay.
We're 2 hours from all the major hubs. Like so Jax, Orlando, Tampa, and Tallahassee are all 2 hours. We're kind of in the middle of all of that.
Okay.
Yep. So I used to spend my summers down in Orange County, Orlando.
Yeah, and I love like my purse palettes I got were from Orlando. From Goodwill, from Shop Goodwill. They were pallets like you got. But from Orlando Shop Goodwill, and that's how I saw that palette. Like ever since I got those purse palettes, because I paid $50 for 2 of them, like a piece.
Oh, nice.
And I had a $200 purse on that palette. Like it paid for all of the pallets, and so. And I don't know if it's stuff that like went through the bins and didn't sell, or like they held it for online auction and it didn't sell, and then they threw them into a pallet. But I have been watching ever since, and I have not found another one.
And thank you for that connect. I went through, I think all but one of the Dysons worked.
That's crazy.
All the Sharks worked. I ended up leaving 8. I couldn't fit them in my car. I left 8 behind, but it was only like the Dirt Devils and stuff.
That's crazy though.
Like I can't get my riding lawnmower out of the shed because it's blocked by vacuums right now. Like
yeah, but they're like higher dollar. Those Dysons are worth some money.
Yeah, I mean easily. I'm probably gonna marketplace some of them, like $150 a pop, and just like let 3 or 4 of them go. We're gonna keep one of them.
Yeah, but actually, did you sell one to your friend for the 75? So like the pallet's paid for?
Yep.
Awesome.
So like everything's been really good on it. That was a good little score. Yeah, I asked the guys because they like, for the season we're in, they were like, you have to load it yourself. We're putting masks on, and I was like, cool. And so I called the guy back. They had shut me out in the parking lot, like with the garage door down. And I said, hey, so I can't fit all these in my car, but you're Goodwill, right? And they said, yeah. And I said, sweet. I'm donating these back. I'm going to leave them by your bay door. And they were like, well, I guess you kind of can. Yeah, we'll take care of it. And I was like, thanks. I'm going to go ahead and go now.
I was like the purses we hand loaded into our truck too, like the pallet.
Yeah.
They had a forklift and we would do it, but we didn't do that. We just hand loaded. I hear
Yeah,
myself.
I was showing you earlier, like you were talking, Kat, like that's all of my unlisted. All those bins, that's all unlisted. All of that's unlisted. And this giant tub underneath the shoes, that's all Dale Earnhardt stuff. That I got.
I've got room on mine, like right now. Let me see if I can see there's space on it right now, but there's stuff on the table. All the stuff on the table isn't listed,
Yeah.
and I like to have the table clear for shipping. So I'm either gonna have to list it. I'll probably list it in the morning before I pull stuff. But I haven't even got to finish going through my trailer because there's a tropical storm. It's been raining for a week.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I still have 30% of that trailer. I don't know what's on it. It's out there under a tarp.
My thing is, Emily Conway just did a live. I'm trying to remember who she did the live with.
The last one, Clay's Closet, was on.
Yes, Clay's Closet. I'm totally stealing his shoebox idea for shelving. So that's why I just ordered 100 USPS shoeboxes. So he just tapes up one back end of the box and then stacks the empty boxes and slides the shoes in with the other end open. So he knows. Yep. And he just built those as his shoe holder because mine are just. I kind of followed Josh Harry Tornado and I was like, pick somewhere and pile them up and keep them close together. But now that I'm probably at 130, 140 shoes, now if I have them already boxed, I saw what Matt did. I didn't want to go that far because I'll second guess myself before I pack it.
Matt has like the wood rack, right?
Well, no, he's even with his shoes now. He has just started putting them in the shoebox, sealing it, taping it, and then marking it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't trust myself. I was like, I still want the box open so I can be like, it is a size 8. Yes. Okay. So Dan, I do have a question for you. How, like, do you just have like 10 browsers open when we mention stuff and you're instantly like, here's what the sales comps are and they're going for this price. And if you sell it now, it's going to, like, how do you get so quick with that? And especially because you don't do this yourself, but you've just been such a vital part, I think, to the whole community as a whole. Like, how do you get so quick with it, man? Is it because of Frank? Like, what is it?
No. I mean, I think it's just, I mean, I'm an engineer, okay? And I'd say 95% of my job is to solve problems for my customers or my coworkers. So I just naturally can find answers very, very quickly. I'm just trained, I know how to do it. And so if, I have one browser open, but it has multiple tabs, I can just type something very quick and find and do some quick searching, multiple things. So I can just find stuff very, very quickly.
I've appreciated it, man. You've been a rock star on some of the stuff that I've been able to talk about in the show. And I remember when I talked about the saddle, and I still have that saved. I'm not kidding. It's still an open browser that I saved on my homepage.
That's funny.
How to sell your saddle.
Yeah, just bookmark. Do you use bookmarks much?
I do.
Okay.
I'll do this just for like quick references because there's a local auction house about 45 minutes away, and that's all they specialize in is now saddles, the bridles for them, basically just a lot of gear. That once I looked up what saddle comps go for, like I was floored, man.
Right. It's interesting growing up. So I was born in a small mountain town in Colorado. And so we lived on a ranch. We had horses and different things. So I was kind of a little cowboy, if you will, and I was real little. I mean, up until maybe 4 or 5 years old. And my dad, he was into horses, and it's called roping and riding. And so it's like team roping, where they're like they're lassoing cows and different things, right? So I grew up kind of around that as a little kid, so I can appreciate cowboy boots and saddles and bridles and all that stuff. I mean, that's a long time ago. I'm not into it anymore by any means, but yeah.
I was just floored at I was like, you have to think of how many places aren't just open and accessible. You're not going to find a saddle at Dick's Sporting Goods,
Right.
you're not gonna find it anywhere. And I was like, man, the daily comps on saddles and just anything dealing with that line of that industry. I was just, man, I was really just floored.
Yeah.
So I got this one to kind of test. I still got to get it cleaned up and stuff. You know, once my Goodwill started opening back up, I was back on my shoe game. So
Nice.
been kind of going crazy with that.
Yeah, I see
But yeah.
Nikki T's. I don't know if she came back or what. I see her in the chat. Hey, Nikki.
Yeah, she jumped in. I was like, I think Kat lost her signal or Dalton took the phone.
Well, her audio changed. I know her phone, if she was on her phone, does that from time to time. So
Yeah, I know she says she gets bad signal where she is.
maybe Dalton's
But yeah,
getting tired too. When you were
Congrats on.
mentioning the USPS shoe boxes and stuff, for me, you know, I buy a lot of shoes and I buy a lot of golf shoes, and I
Yeah.
just keep the original shoe boxes because that's how I store them. If I'm not going to wear them, I put them up so I can easily see which shoes are which. Right? If you have 30, 40 pair of personal shoes for golf, just golf alone, you need to have a system to be able to see them. So
That's what I didn't know. You know, I was comfortable with shoes. It's what I quickly like. I did the medicine that, you know, I hope a lot of resellers do, is if you get an opportunity at a yard sale or a thrift store, is to let your mind and body naturally gravitate to where it wants to go, because it'll typically reveal to you where you're the most comfortable. Just will.
mhm.
And for me, I was watching so many other resellers, and they're oh, thanks so much, Kat. Dalton's ready for a bath. I get it. I totally get it, Kat. Thanks for hanging out in the chat, though. Um, I wanted to tell myself to go to the electronics. I wanted to tell myself to look at appliances and stereos and stuff, but I would just take that left. And I think it was like the first pair of shoes that I think they were just some Nike Zooms, and I was like, man, these look pretty clean. You know, I would wear these. I'd actually, at my old job, I used to work right next to a Goodwill, and I would walk over there and find Jordans on the shelf, and I'd find foam posits, and I'd find, you know, these oddity shoes that were going for 80 to 100 bucks, you know, used. And so I naturally was like, well, I've done this before. Let me go check this out. And now it's on a typical, even recently, since Goodwill's opened back up, I probably on average pick up 10 to 15 pair in
Nice.
a 3 hour span. And I felt bad. I was talking about this in the video because we hit up 3. Nikki T says good night.
Good night, Nikki T.
You and Dave are awesome.
I know it's late over there. I mean, you know, for a school night, even though school's out, right? I mean, it's almost
For me,
11
I get
o'clock.
to go into work an hour later tomorrow. So
Nice.
our Mondays.
Will you wake up earlier in a normal time and just do more stuff in the morning, or you take advantage and try to sleep in?
No, my son doesn't allow us to sleep in.
Right.
He's the alarm clock before the alarm clock.
Yep.
Hey, and thanks so much for hanging out, Nikki. We do appreciate it. But yeah, I just recently, like I said, with shoes, man, I've been working on the system. I don't ever know whether to believe the eBay algorithms or not, and things such as that. But so far, just hitting our listing goals each day. I'm going to try to do it later tonight. I typically work on this on the Eastern Standard Time till about most of the time 1. You know, if it's my weekend is like Thursday night, Friday night. I'll typically work till about 2:30 in the morning, and then try to stay in bed till 8 if I can, 8:30,
Wow.
something like that.
Yeah.
But now working on a system where I'm like, if I make a goal of 10, I'm happy if I hit 10. If I'm not tired, I'll hit 15. So it works out pretty good. And since then, I was just looking. Today is my second highest sales date, like on record.
Nice.
Today is.
That's
and
awesome.
that highest sales date ever was when I sold that Click Gear cart, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, it's definitely paying off. You know, shoes are paying off. Sold a couple other like oddity things and fun stuff like that. So you said you're a big shoe head. I know you like golf. Are there any other big collectibles that Dan really goes after?
Not really. I mean, I'm a big Star Wars guy.
Okay.
That's why. I mean, I don't know if you can even see my little avatar or whatever they're called. It's a Darth Vader with the golf club. I don't know if you can
Yep.
tell.
Yep. Yep.
So I just in anytime I can kind of merge the two things I like, I'm all in, right? So
Oh,
um,
definitely.
yeah. So kind of a movie buff. I love comedies. Um,
Okay.
Sci-fi to a certain extent. Comedy number one. I mean, you name a comedy, I've seen it 100, times at least. I can quote the whole movie basically. So, and then I'm into
Okay.
sports, of course, football, but not so much basketball. I used to. It's funny. I've had different phases of my life. Like when I was, I was more into like basketball in the '90s because I was a big Bulls and Jordans fan. And so
Yeah.
I was like more a basketball fan at that time in the '90s than I probably was a football fan. I've always been a Denver Bronco fan, but more it was kind of casual when I was really little, and then I started getting into it more and more and so forth. Especially in like the late '90s when the Broncos won back-to-back Super Bowls. It's like I don't know if it's a homer bandwagon, whatever, right? It just kind of that
No,
took over. So
there's a method to it. I experienced the same thing, and I'm guessing you're probably in your 30s.
no, I'm 43.
Okay, early 40s.
Yep.
Okay, I'm getting into my latter 30s.
Okay.
But I think there's something to it. I was the same as you, man. Basketball is huge. My big fan was the Minnesota guy himself, Kevin Garnett, when he came into the league. Wally
Mm-hmm.
Zerbiak. I think what we saw in NBA, it is happening in the NFL, but NFL is still having the longevity of the player for a team. But the NBA just went player focused, not team focused.
Yep.
You started to like somebody. Like I was so heartbroken when Kevin Garnett left.
Yeah.
And
He went to Boston, right?
Yeah, I was just crushed.
Yeah.
But in the NFL, for instance, my man, he came and helped you guys out to another Super Bowl. Peyton Manning.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could care less about the Colts, but I ended up watching the Colts game. And guess what? He was this longevity player. I
Yep.
loved it.
Yep.
And I think even though some pieces moved around, you still got to stay really team focused. It wasn't all the drama of like, I'm mad at this guy and I'm leaving. Or
Right.
I'm going to go because I'm going to work with this guy to get the championship. It was never that. It was more a financial structure
Mm-hmm.
for NFL, caps and extended contracts. But
Is the business side as opposed to the individual egos and
Yep.
chasing rings, right?
So I think that's what for our era. Now everybody who's an NBA fan now isn't a team fan; they're a player fan.
To an extent.
It's working, I think, for the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a guy who's changed his jersey 3 times because he's a Kevin Durant fan.
Right.
It's just
Right.
So I don't think you see that as much in the NFL. I mean, I know Tampa Bay is selling the record for jerseys this year, but
Yeah. Yep. Now I hear you. I mean, like when Michael Jordan, retired for the second time or whatever, then he went to the Wizards. I wasn't a Wizards fan by any means, but I was
nope.
interested in Jordan to see, at the end of his career, how would he do,
Yeah.
right? It was
Yeah,
it was all individual based. Yep.
Yep. So I've seen a little bit of that. It's been pretty fun.
Right.
I was gonna say on the Star Wars thing, man, that's some hard stuff to get your hands on.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's overproduced stuff and it's too easy to get your hands on.
Well, it's interesting. Like it was maybe 3 weeks ago, Jimmy and his wife came over to our house because our wives are good friends. We're all good friends, and I have a whole bunch of Star Wars figures from the Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Because when that came out, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go buy off all the stuff and just keep them, sit on them. Though they made so many of those figures, and everybody you can find them brand new. You might be able to get $10, $11 for a given figure. I think the one I had that was worth the most was maybe $19 to $20. So you figure, how long has it been? 20 years now or whatever it is, and those things have barely nudged anything from retail at the time. If anything, they might be worth less. So
right, I've only seen some of there's been some newer Target exclusive stuff. I got a 3-pack. And it was some of the off characters, so I guess they didn't get shipped out. They were
Yeah.
more like dead stock.
Yep.
But I found this little 3-pack as a Target exclusive re-release of the episode 3, I think. And
Oh, yeah.
they ended up going for like $45 for the set, but yet the Yoda and Luke were only comping at $16.
Yeah, I mean, they just
They
it's
were
it's all
flooded
it's all
everywhere.
it's all quantities, right? They're going to run a bunch more of those, and especially if
Yep.
they never release them. You know, a lot of collectors about whatever is rare has a higher demand, right? So
Yeah, it's very true.
yeah, and then
But
plus for
yeah,
me, I didn't start golfing. I didn't start like getting into golf until much later in my life. I probably was maybe like, I don't know, mid to upper 20s or so. And it was very casual. Like I had friends that played, so I bought like a cheap set, went out and played once in a while, but never really got into it until probably maybe like mid 2000s or so. And then I started getting more serious and really studying the game, studying the equipment, all that stuff. I mean, I'm like all in. I'll watch people who do club reviews. I watch people who do train, like coaches and their techniques and what they do, and understanding all the physics behind the golf swing.
do you get any? Do you buy off of any golf resellers through eBay?
I have the only thing I've ever purchased through eBay, and it sounds funny, following all these resellers in this community, but I bet you I've only purchased on eBay a handful of times.
Yeah.
And the ironic part, every single thing I bought on eBay has been a golf related item. I bought a pair of golf shoes.
Well, there you go.
I bought, and it's just interesting because like shoes, the size, the manufacturer, it's going to be whatever it is, as long as it's not a fake, right? And like,
Right.
who's going to fake a pair of golf shoes, right? I mean,
Right.
there's not a a demand for that kind of thing.
Not a big market, yeah.
Exactly. So I think my first purchase ever on eBay was a pair of golf shoes, which I still have because they were brand new. They probably retailed for $125, and I was able to buy them for like $60. It was a no-brainer for me, right?
You got to do it, man. The Adidas I have on my feet, yeah, I picked up off of eBay for $35, and I think they were asking $75.
Yep. And then other than that, I bought like golf shafts for drivers.
Yeah.
It's like I go to like the retail, big box store, Dick's or whatever, and they'll have the club I want, but it's like a regular flex versus a stiff flex or whatever, as an example. So I'll go online and research and make sure I'm at the time, even before I knew a lot about reselling, because this is years ago. It was like I want to look and see, what their reputation is like. Are these legit, right?
Yep.
And golf shafts, you can buy a golf shaft for $150, $200.
That's
the
true.
ones I want is like, if I can find them for $30 and it's a real shaft, I'll buy it because it's much cheaper than trying to. And you can't really find that kind of stuff unless you're in a specialty store.
That's true.
An actual shaft. So, yep. So I probably bought maybe 3 or 4 shafts of the 5 total eBay purchases.
See, and that's good though, because I was like, I think you've been pretty vital to everybody on here, and I love one of the comments you said. You were like, man, I've connected, especially during the season, with more people in this network of the reseller community than real people. Not
For
saying
sure.
that these people are real, but just how we've been able to relate and get to know one another. And
no doubt,
I'll talk casually to my friends on the phone, here locally, and I'm like, yeah, me and Emily were talking, and we had this really good conversation about mental health and awareness.
right?
And he's like, yeah, where's Emily? I was like, oh, well, she lives in Syracuse. But yeah, no, I was actually telling somebody today. I was like, yeah, my buddy Frank. We went through this whole night, and he had like over $1,000 in vintage tees, and they're like, where is he? And I was like, oh, well, it's YouTube friend. He's in Colorado,
right? Real quick, Kat's going to bed. She's out, so she has to go give Dalton a bath or start her night. So,
no,
night, Kat.
Thanks so much, Kat. Like, I appreciate you hanging out. I definitely want to do some more like fun stuff to help you out. She's been such a help for me. And like, Dan, that's something cool that I will hit you up on Instagram about. Something that God really laid on my heart that I definitely want to share with you. It'll be really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, reach out to me.
But yeah, it was just like fun connecting with you and asking about that because I was like, man, I know you got Frank is family and like you said, you're good friends with Jimmy, which is cool. But I was like Jacob at Midwest, and I was like, man, he specializes in golf stuff.
Yep.
He gets quite a bit, and then I think he's down in South Carolina. Is it SC?
Oh, you're talking about his name is Casey, I believe. The Carolina Hustler, I think.
Yeah, Carolina Hustler. I know there's a bunch of South Carolina boys down there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I was like, I know they specialize in that, and I was like, man, did Dan ever? I know he follows them or he'll chat with them, but is he like a regular customer of theirs? Does he get good deals? Can he hit them up? Can he?
Well, it's funny. So I don't have any kids, and my wife and I both, we have good jobs and stuff. So my hobby when I spend money is typically on golf equipment. And in the golf world, they call that tinkering when you buy new golf clubs. So, and manufacturers release new clubs essentially every year. It's like a new model.
Yeah.
Titleist tends to be every 2 years or so. They're a little bit, because Titleist will sell a premium for their clubs because, good players play them and so forth. So they kind of hold off and they'll release like a new driver every 2 years, new irons every, kind of alternating years or whatever. But like the TaylorMades, the Pings, the Callaway, they release new stuff and multiple models every single year. They're just, customers are like, I want to hit it 300 yards. Well, you want to put the time in and go to the gym, go get lessons and learn how to hit it, or you want to buy a new club that's supposed to give you an extra 15 yards, right? So they're chasing that. And that's the desire is new equipment will make me better. Right?
Yeah.
We say, is it the Indian or is it the arrow, right?
Well, hey, the basketball shoe game took that over by storm.
Oh no!
Why were they called Air Jordans?
I mean, I went to high school in the early '90s, right? It's between '90. I graduated in '95,
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was the Nike basketball takeover. Jordan came in the league, '83, I think it was '84, and the shoe game was slow. He had his Jordans. They weren't, they were cool shoes, but shoes didn't really blow up until the late '80s, early '90s, where it became like a fashion thing to wear, the basketball shoes and so forth. And so for me,
how they marketed.
Oh, clearly. So
Jordan had those shoes because look what he could do from the free throw line.
Oh yeah.
And because you got a shoe with air on it, you're gonna go 15 inches higher. You're gonna hang in the air 20 more seconds.
Of course.
And then who was it? Was it Reebok or no British Knight that had the pump?
It's Reebok. I mean, it was
pumps. Like the instant competition of pump up the soles of your shoes because look what it's gonna do. So people have been chasing after it for
if you ever want to talk about shoes from the 90s, I mean, I could talk days about that stuff, right? Reebok, because I remember, I'm pretty much sure I was I think it was between 7th and 8th grade. So that would have been like, I would say 90, 91 timeframe. That's when Reebok pumps came out. And they had the Reebok pumps. Andre Agassi I believe he wore Reebok pumps for tennis. And instead of having a little pump tennis or basketball, it had a pump, a ball that was a tennis ball with a fuzzy tennis ball texture on it. And so,
I haven't, these are late 90s. I haven't listed them yet. We got them Reebok i3.
Oh, yeah. I saw that when you bought them. Yep. That's funny.
They're a 15, so it'll be a special buyer.
No, that's good. Any big size shoes sell because you can't really buy them in stores.
Yep.
So anybody that has a really big foot, they're going to go anywhere it's like big and tall clothes, right? Anybody that has those, non-typical sizes, they'll spend whatever and they'll jump on anything like that. So, what's funny about those shoes, if you look at them, it has that Velcro ankle strap.
Yep.
That's directly from the Air Force One Nikes. Had the same style.
They copied the exact same. I mean, if you look at the whole style of it, the stitching on the toe.
Yep.
your air holes. The only thing they changed was they double layered the back heel.
Yep.
That was the only big difference. Everything else, you're exactly right. It might have been the same factory. Like
It
We'll
wouldn't
never know.
doubt it. Yeah. You know what's interesting? I always talk about people, because I'm into sports and into shoes and stuff. But the reason why I think the NBA really is a player, focused, player-led league is because they're not wearing helmets. They're not wearing much in terms of, big, bulky shoulder pads and stuff. And there's not as many of them. So you can really focus on players because there's just fewer and you see their face, right?
Yeah.
So, it's interesting.
They market. I mean, there's a few NFL players that have figured it out, but NBA players can market themselves. I mean, they can get paid more to be an influencer than sometimes their contract.
No doubt, no doubt. Most of
And
those
NFL,
guys,
you're right. NFL, there's not a lot of guys. You got Odell Beckham Jr.
and most of those guys that are like that, the classic, diva wide receiver, they get it's almost like a negative connotation about how they put themselves out there, how they market themselves. Unless you're a quarterback or somebody who's head and beyond everybody else, like a Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so you got to answer these debate questions, and then I'll probably jump off here, but we got to debate those two things, okay? Because I think I know what you'll go with. GOAT for the NBA.
Oh, you'll know what I'll say.
MJ, all the way.
It's no question in my mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
I don't even have to say it, and you'll know my answer. That's how simple it is.
No, thank you. You're helping me. There's too many people that I think forgot or just never knew that the game that's being played now was established by how it changed for that player.
Did you watch any of the Last Dance series?
I watched a few. I want to catch up on all of them, but I keep up with Skip and Shannon, so I get to hear them talk trash on all of it. Okay,
right.
GOAT. Who is the GOAT for the NFL?
I assume you're asking about like the GOAT in terms of the quarterback.
Yeah, you'd have to probably say in that realm. Yeah.
I know. I say if you ask 10 people, 9 out of 10 would say Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Right. But in my opinion, I think it's hard to give a single answer, to be honest. But by definition, that rules out the concept of GOAT because I can't really say one is better than the other. Because having watched casually in the 80s and a lot in the 90s and then onward, I mean, Joe Montana was an amazing quarterback, right?
Yep.
And then being a Broncos fan for life, John Elway was an amazing quarterback. And the fact that he took multiple teams and lost and then took, a different team, because if you look at it, from year to year, football teams can be completely different. The roster turnover and everything else. So the teams from year to year, even sometimes during a year with trades or with injuries or what have you. So John Elway is always going to be in a top discussion. I wouldn't say he's a GOAT necessarily, but I'd say like the top 5 for me I would like to talk about versus a single one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And real quick, Tom Brady, yes, he has so many rings and so forth, but just the Patriots organization, the way they do things, they take nobodies literally or people who aren't known and make them successful. They're able to execute. Their coaching and their strategy, the way they're able to adapt, and they're
well-structured system.
Definitely. I think he's. People will say it, and I'm guilty of it too, that Brady's a product of the system versus being, making the team and so forth. So that's why I know Jimmy does a Tuesday night kind of sports talk thing, and they've been talking about stuff, right? And I'm thinking to myself, I personally think Tampa Bay is not going to do very well. I mean, they're gonna have their moments, but I don't think they're gonna do as well as people think that they're gonna just right there be a contender just because they have the names on the jerseys. It takes a lot for a team to gel. Those guys are later in their careers. So we'll see.
Exactly. Peyton Manning. I mean, I'm a Tennessee boy. Peyton Manning was near and dear to my heart, but his year, that even that run for you guys in Denver, he couldn't do a lot that season.
And it really depends on which season, right? Because his first season, their offense was amazing. Their defense let them down. Right. That's why they got their butts kicked by Seattle in the Super Bowl. They couldn't do anything. And then they had injuries too and other stuff. But, Manning was, a coach on the field essentially, right? He was able to audible whatever he wanted. And he was more than anything a leader for the team, right? Those intangibles where people looked up to him and wanted to play better.
That's why I can't put his name. He would be, in my opinion, he would have been talked about a lot more if he had 2 more Super Bowls.
Yep.
Honestly.
I agree.
If he had 4,
yeah.
I think he'd be in the contention, but he's just not even mentioned because he's tarnished by his brother having 2.
Right.
which is just a shame. But
Yeah.
All right, last one, because this one is the most fun, okay? It's not going to be fun if you don't know the realm of this at all.
Okay.
But we've been doing this at work, and we narrowed it down to 3. Who is the GOAT for wrestling?
So for me, maybe I'll share a quick story. For me, I was big into wrestling like in the 80s. And I'd say kind of, it goes back to my phases of life, right? Where I was hardcore into this and, so wrestling in the 80s was huge for me. And so Frank and I, so basically Frank's mom and my dad are brother and sister. That's how we're related.
Okay.
And in 1984, his family and my family moved from Colorado to Arizona.
Okay.
So because our parents were like, oh, we want to move to Arizona. It's warmer weather. And my dad was a plumber his whole life. And so in Colorado, you got to bundle up in the winter because it's so cold and you're working outside, working on homes or whatever, right? In Arizona, it's the exact opposite. In the hot summer, you got to wear layers and stuff to protect yourself from the heat.
Yeah.
And so they were all like, oh, let's go to Arizona. The cost of living is cheaper. We can blah, blah, blah. Well, my family only made it for 3 years. So we were in Arizona from 84 to 87. And then we got homesick. We wanted to come back to Colorado. So we moved back. Frank's family stayed there until sometime in the 90s. And so maybe a year or 2 after our family moved back in 87, that's when Frank and Jimmy met each other. So I never knew Jimmy back then because I had already we had already moved back to Colorado. But where I'm going with all this is Frank's family has always been big wrestling fans, huge wrestling fans. And that's why Frank is such a hardcore, wrestling fan, and his brother Ray, the same thing. So being around those guys back then, we watched all kinds of wrestling and stuff. So I watched wrestling. And then when we moved back to Colorado in 87, I still watched it, but less so, not as intense. So a lot of my answers, or what I might say for a GOAT for wrestling, might be biased because of when I was actually more focused and into it.
Well, I just want to see if you made, and this was a staff of, I think we had 9 people vote. So this isn't a make or break, but we did narrow it down to 3, and I'll give you the reasoning that we still haven't been able to pick one.
Okay.
But I want to hear your answer.
So, in any discussion for the GOAT with respect to wrestling, I think, the obvious answer that people will say is Hulk Hogan, just because he immortalized, the superstar of wrestling. He was the face of the WWF for a long, long time. People who weren't into wrestling knew who Hulk Hogan was, right?
Yeah.
So he was kind of a worldwide phenomenon. So I would say he's in the discussion, of course, in the top 3, if you want to call it that, or even a Mount Rushmore of wrestlers, right?
Yeah. He was the first name that went on the board.
Yep.
Because exactly what you said, he changed it for the wrestler, for contracts, got the first movie deals, had a cartoon series. Like you said, if you never watched the match and he showed up on a McDonald's commercial, you knew who he was.
Right.
He was essentially what MJ did to bring more awareness to the game. You still had great guys like Wilt and Magic Johnson, things like that, but Hulk Hogan kind of played that legacy of like, here's where it's all going to change from here on out. So
it's like Tiger Woods of golf, right? You have your Jack Nicklaus, and you have your Arnold Palmers and those great guys who've done amazing things. But the one who brought it to the masses, right? Hogan did that to an extent.
So then we went a different spin.
Okay. I don't want to hear your answer because I don't want it to sway my answer. So don't say anything in terms of what was said. So this is more of a personal answer for me.
Okay.
My favorite wrestler growing up and still to this day, just because of being a kid
Okay.
and being into that at the time, Andre the Giant will always be my favorite wrestler. Period.
Okay.
Right? Because he was a global phenomenon, not only because everybody knew who he was, but he was bigger than life, figuratively and literally.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
so he was this massive person, even though they all exaggerated height and weights and all that stuff,
Oh, yeah.
whatever they
Oh, yeah.
build it on the card, it's actually buffered. But Andre has always been my favorite,
Okay.
and a lot of people knew who Andre the Giant, was. He also ventured into entertainment in terms of movies and
Yep.
other stuff too. But he wasn't your typical wrestler either, right? I mean, he was just so big, he could just muscle and just the pure mass. He could move people around, right? But that's
Okay.
more of a personal answer. Is
He
Andre the Giant?
made the top 10. He made the top 10.
Yeah, I can see why. Because if you want to start talking about like the technical wrestlers and the ones that were really, a real, what is the word? A craftsman of the sport of the
Yeah.
game, right? You'll talk about like people like Bret Hart, and then you'll talk about other people who changed things like Stone Cold Steve Austin and different those big names like that, right? Or so my third one though I haven't said yet in terms of my top three.
All right.
And this guy, he took, I would say, showmanship to the next level.
Okay.
Okay. And I just, at the time, I probably didn't like him because he was I'd say the Hulk Hogan of the WCW at the time. He was their main guy.
Okay.
So my third top would be Ric Flair, the Nature Boy.
Okay.
All
right.
And because he was, he had that glamorous luxury, bigger than life, persona that he had, right? And he's still like that till this day. If you ever see any of his current interviews and stuff, who do you know who was in wrestling in the 80s and throughout for, a long, long time is now in the 2010s
Still
in
talking
current
trash in the ring.
rap videos. Rappers make, songs about him. I mean, this guy he has lasted, the test of time. So definitely Ric Flair. So I'd say Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Ric Flair. And those are all easily debatable. And I know other people will definitely throw in The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. They'll throw in, various people. So, but those are my three.
So our top three were synonymous because they could all be number ones for different reasons. But I want to say these other names because you had mentioned a few. The reason Andre the Giant for us went down in rankings is because the Big Show kind of showed that it could be duplicated. Sadly. And it was kind of like Andre the Giant, the legacy of what I was saying in basketball, Wilt the Stilt. But Kareem showed up, and you kind of go, oh, okay. So if you're taller than everybody else, you can score really good. And then Shaq showed up, and you were like, Shaq's not the greatest of all time, but now you put weight on a 7-foot dude. Wow, it's not as rare. But we had a tie for 5th place, which was Stone Cold and Sting. They were tied for 5th. But they were very in the avenue of the realm of what they did. You knew their names outside, but that was their trick. They were not that they were one-trick ponies, but that's what they stayed in.
Right.
Number 4 was Ric Flair.
So just outside of your discussed top 3.
Okay. Top 3, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Yes, Hulk Hogan going good, bad, in between, worked for 4 different companies in his lifespan, and yes, household name. Everybody knows it.
But he was 3 of the top 3? Or third,
He was... We could not... Basically, all the tallies came in, and these guys almost actually ended up equal.
Okay, so the top 3, any of them could be interchanged to number 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hulk Hogan has it. He's in there because everybody goes with, this is when it changed. This is when the first $1 million contract was signed. This is when more TV channels want, Ted Turner wanted to say, I want these guys. I'm going to start WCW. I want to do this. You know, contracts started to be a thing. You are entertainers now. So
Right.
the other person has done the same thing, yes, in the top 3, but to an immeasurable level, and that is The Rock.
Okay.
We're like, The Rock, little kids are wearing the T-shirts that like they want to be like him because he's in Fast and the Furious. They want to be like him because he's this other funny. Yes, his outside persona is probably bigger than his persona.
Well, I was going to say that. Yep.
But the fact that he still shows up twice a year to pay honor to where his roots are, he has probably turned more people to wrestling than wrestlers followed him to main media.
Definitely.
So we were like, to then do what Hulk Hogan did, but then probably exponentially grow both of them, not use one for the other, but actually get them to merge more. We're like, that was his reasoning. Was he the best wrestler? No. But he found a character that launched him into something, and then he took that something and brought it back, which was crazy. You got your John Cena's, your Brock Lesnar's, all those guys that kind of followed that mold, which was cool. But the other one that didn't do a whole lot outside of wrestling, but everyone has a reaction when you say the name, Undertaker.
Okay. Yep.
We just went from his birth of coming in, I think, in '95, and
because did he debut on WrestleMania? Because it was wasn't it a big event?
Yeah, and he was at that time he was like a zombie out of a grave guy. He didn't talk. He always sat up. And then even though he's transitioned into like a biker and then back, and it was the fact that it's all scripted, but he's just known for holding the record for, I think he's 23-0 at WrestleMania now, like 23 years. And then we did one thing, because we said, all right, what do fans of the sport? So you got to think internal, not external, not what their social media following is, not their movie deals. We're like, when that theme music comes on, when the lights go out and you hear that bell and you get goosebumps because you know what it is, and the crowd goes nuts. It was bigger than Stone Cold. It was bigger than Hulk Hogan. It was bigger than The Rock. He is like the DNA of what wrestling was.
Right.
He stayed with one company. He's just been true. He's been solid. He was what Tom Brady was for the what Tom Brady was for the Patriots.
Yep.
You know, so it's just, I don't know. It's pretty. That was one that, and everybody had a positive to say. And then Ric Flair was 4 because he was probably 2 votes behind everybody else.
He was up there, just missed it, right? In terms of just the pure count.
What hurt him is everybody was like, well, was Ric Flair that well known, or did he also get very well known because of the start of the 4 Horsemen? When he launched that, he could always replace those guys. He was probably the front runner, but he would have had a bigger legacy career just staying solo or just tag team.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. When people collaborate, they diminish their individual contribution, right? For me, like, I was a big Road Warriors fan, and when you mentioned Undertaker's, intro music and the bell ringing, for me, if I ever hear Iron Man, I don't think anything, about. I'm like, oh, here comes the Road Warriors, right? I mean, that was. I mean, talking about goosebumps when I was a little kid, because we didn't know who was going to show up for a weekly wrestling match, in the late 80s or whatever. But if you heard the music, you're like, oh, and then you get amped up as a little kid, you're jumping around.
Oh yeah, big time, man.
Yeah.
No, so we've still had that, and I've been asking everybody I run into, and I'm like, all right. Oh, she said Flair wrestled in Portland, Oregon for years.
Oh, nice.
Flair actually still resides in North Carolina. He did a promotional wrestling event at the high school. He signed autographs and everything in the county that I live in.
Cool.
So he comes up to Virginia quite often.
No, I think Marie. Correct me if I'm wrong, Marie, but I thought you were in one of Frank's a Stroke of Luck's wrestling discussion weeks back, I believe, when he was doing that show. I remember you guys talking about how you had some local wrestlers. If it's the same person, I thought they said they knew a lot of people that were in the business and blah blah blah. So, Uncle B.
Look who jumps in after all the sports talk we just did.
Yeah, we were about to wind it down, and
and then Jimmy's like, "No, start talking trash. Let's go."
His ears were getting hot and his nose was itching. He knew people were talking about some sports talk.
Yeah, man. But no, I definitely wanted to thank you, Dan. Like, from the jump, man. And the shout out really goes to Jimmy and Frank. I appreciate every level that I get to. I'm not quite at 200 subs, but I'm happy with when I first got that contact by Jimmy and he said, "Hey, we want you to jump on the show. We do this show." And I'd only seen probably 2 or 3 of them. I love their funny guys. I love their bit about you. And this is when I was like, all right, is Dan a real person or is he offended? And then I see you in the
real
chat,
person.
I'm like, okay, no, this guy's joking along. Okay. And then Frank tells me, "Oh yeah, that's my cousin." I was like,
that's funny.
Okay. But when I first learned of that and was able to do that show, and I kind of went into this and I go, "Hey, am I late to the game? Am I figuring this out?" And man, and like I said, I want to shout you out because you were just supportive and you were connecting, and I felt the same way you did. It was easier and almost better to connect with the people through this network, through this reseller community of just people that wanted to help people and wanted to give information out and support one another. And here's Marie. My parents worked in the Portland sports arena. Ooh, there it is. Okay. She had a good connect there. But like since then, I mean, me and Emily, we don't chat all the time, maybe once a week, but I love what she does to help people with like the mental awareness and esteem issues. And I jumped on a live with her talking just on comparison and stuff. And then with Kat, me and Kat have just sat there just comparing ideas and stories, and people just think they're too big. I messaged Matt on Instagram. I was struggling through eBay. I was like, I'm running out of boxes. I need to order more. And I was like, I started the hard way. I was like, I don't want to bug this guy. He's at 30,000 subs. I'm not going to bug him. I'm going to keep watching the videos because I know he put a link in one of the descriptions before he gets his boxes. And I jump on and I go, "Hey, man, hate to bug you. First off, I want to say thank you. I've been learning a lot, been studying you for months. You mentioned something in a video. I've been trying to watch. Where did you say you get your boxes from?" He's like, "Oh, here it is. Here you go. Glad I could help." And you're just like, man, somebody that doesn't want to hoard information, that doesn't think they're too big for themselves, and they really want to help out the other person. And that I've just appreciated that, man.
Is that Matt? Which Matt is that?
Part-time pickers.
Part-time pickers, okay.
Out in California.
Nice.
He does it part-time, but I mean, he crushes it. He's just shipping out multiple things, buys truckloads, pallets, but also runs to the thrift store and says, "I bought this for $1 and sold it for $6. Yay!" So it's just finding people like that you just I've come to appreciate it, man. I really have.
Yeah, and definitely shout out to Jimmy because he's the one who got me connected to a lot of people here. Being in the reselling, he was like, "Yeah, I've been on these shows. I watch these guys. They're funny, and learn a lot of information from various people." And so I'm like, "Okay, I'm interested." And being in quarantine and shut down and all this other stuff is like you can't easily go visit friends and family and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna start somewhere and just start watching some of these shows, and then you start getting connected with the people. You develop relationships with individuals and stuff. So It's been kind of a silver lining from the pandemic itself with this reseller community.
It really has. Part of my story is that's what I did. I started studying in September. I went like hardcore the first week of February. I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And then all this hit, and I didn't start my YouTube Every day I'm hustling. Me and Frank discovered this one time. You
and
jumped on
Anthony.
that one where we went for 4 hours, right?
Nate and Anthony, I watched the show you guys did 5 months ago when your wives were on there, and I was rolling. I was dying. Anthony, your wife was cracking me up. She just, you could tell she's a no filter, says whatever's on her mind, and just that's so, yeah. When she kept making fun of you when you were doing your intro roll call, I was like, oh boy.
Ecom and beyond, rolling deep.
Yep. They got that ecom bus, that charter bus ready to go.
But man, it was connecting, when you're thinking of like people jumping in now and really just getting the opportunity to get to know people. I've tried to promote people that I was like, I don't want to be like Kat. I want Kat to run the business the way Kat runs her business. Why? Because she's helping people in a way without changing what she's got to do. I love everybody bringing their own independent feel and spin and connectivity and background. I love that. Frank said one of the most honoring things to me. He says, you're a pastor and I'm not really a religious guy. He goes, but to get to know somebody who's going to laugh and have a good time and encourage, and you can pick their brain and get ideas, and I was like, man, I don't even experience that with what I do with the general public. I can talk to somebody as clear as day and have a good time and chat and everything, and then they're like, what do you do? I was like, oh yeah, I'm a pastor, and they're just like, oh sweet, see you later. And I'm like, what? Like what just happened? Like,
right.
We were relating as human beings. Like,
Yep.
It's okay. We can talk about life. Everybody's going through life. But just getting connected with them, man, and like I said, joking with you and you just helping out and being so supportive. And then I jump on another live and I see you there and I'm like, this is a fun little community. This is a cool little like group that I think is really going to kick off in a fun way. Another one of my buddies, and I don't bug him at all. A few people have actually asked me. They've been like, "Hey, so when are you gonna hit up your buddy?" And I was like, "He's now at 270,000 subscribers, I think, and he helps me at church and stuff." And the only question I've ever asked him on YouTube and anything, I said, "Hey, I'm going to start an Instagram and a YouTube. Should I do one before the other?" And he said, "Do them both at the same time." And I said, "Yeah, but," he said, "just do both of them at the same time." And then the next thing he told me, he goes, "Let me know when you get to 100 subs. I'm going to send you an app." And I said, "All right, man, I don't want to know your tags, your algorithm, your thought process, none of that stuff." But he was able to check out what we've done. And he said, right now, the community that is the reselling community, he says, it's a really cool niche for YouTube. He said, but secondly, it's a group of people that speak a common language, that understand each other and want to help each other. And if you've seen a lot of Emily Conway's like Instagram handle, she's the most public about it, but get bashed a lot.
Right.
Which is super weird. But he was just like, man, he said, what you're doing, not just for the content value, but it's a cool network of people that he says, when you get to channels at this level, he can't connect with people personally. He can have a small group of 10 friends, but he's like, yeah, Google search my name. They tell me how many times I've cheated on my wife or I have illegitimate kids and people hate you for this. And,
wow.
And so that's what I've just been like, just kind of pumped about. I kind of appreciate each person I can connect with and have a good time with and joke with and really just share story and hear fun facts on why Dan is connected with this whole reseller community. I mean, that's a fun fact just learned in there. You're just like, all right, well, I can't connect with other people. Let me check out what's going on here.
Yep, no doubt. Yeah, it's been nice.
So, yeah.
The challenge for me is, since I have a full-time job, right? is during the day. I'm working doing stuff, so I can't just jump on everything, whatever. So yeah.
Oh, me too. I'm Sunday's pretty busy for me, so
Yep.
I got done tonight at 7 p.m. So that's as soon as I dropped the thumbnail. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go live in 2 hours," and then I'm in the office Monday through Thursday. So my days off are Friday, Saturday. That's my usually source video days. I might do a what sold after this.
Is that why you extend it to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning when you're
Yep.
doing whatever? Yeah.
Because I get home, I pick up my son, he stays with his grandma, so I'm home by 5:15. My wife right now is working from home. Their office is remote working, so she's working from home. But I cook dinner, hang out with my son, we do all that. We get him in bed by 8:45, and then typically, besides like a night like tonight, I want to hang out with her for a little bit, and then I don't start until 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
She's usually ready for bed, and I'm working on it till 1, 2 in the morning, and then repeat the process. So, yeah, because the stuff I do for the church, I'm an online pastor, so I connect with people all over the world, but I do our social media, help out with graphics, part of the creative team, help out with localized ministry and foreign missions. It keeps me rolling.
Nice.
So yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And dude, it's just got an offer on a Callaway set of golf shoes. So
nice. Very cool.
We'll see how it does. But yeah, man, anything else you want to share? Because I probably still will end it just so I can try to get a little more done.
Yeah, you're at 2.5 hours now, so
I'm trying to get ahead of the game on the watch hours. Ahead of the game.
One thing I'll say is on golf shoes. So golf shoes has two main types: spike and spikeless.
Okay.
And metal spikes, you're not allowed to use metal spikes anymore. So anything with metal spikes is like you won't the average person can't buy those. So most spikeless shoes are basically like they look like they just have just a regular rubber soles. They look kind of like a trail shoe, right? They're all integrated spikes. Shoes that have spikes, if you find them and it looks like the spikes are worn down, they look like they're just like they've been used, but the shoe itself is in good shape. Those spikes, you can replace them.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said that. I meant to say that earlier. The big auction I went to where my brother got the cart, I got a few like clubs and stuff, and I bought 9 or 10 pair of shoes. Well, one of the boxes was full of replacement spikes.
Yep. And there's different types. They don't all use the same. There's maybe 3, 4, 5, common types of spikes. Some that kind of just clip in, some that twist to go in, and so forth. And if you notice on the spike, there should be 2 little holes. And what that is you buy a spike, like a key, if you will. So you can, get in there and twist it out if they need to be replaced. That's what's happening.
Yeah. I think I have one of those. Yeah, this guy, he was an avid golfer, so I just sold the last set of vintage, the wooden golf club head covers. I got one box of those for $6. All in all, I lotted them up in the 3 lots. The ping set, of course, went for $75.
Nice.
The other ones, I think one went for $30, and then the other one went for like $15. But I mean, for $6, I picked up enough pretty good stuff. I mean, my brother-in-law stole the show with, I think, a $400 driver, a $200 driver, and then that cart.
If it was a $400 driver, that would have been a fairly recent driver, because brand new drivers today are for $400 to $500. And then, like I said before, since they release new models basically every year, last year's model drops from a $400 driver to a $300 driver. And then each year it's going to keep going down. So golf clubs lose value very quickly.
Japanese manufacturer.
Was it Mizuno?
No. It was actually stamped made in Japan. a lot of the products we got were either South Korean or Japan.
Okay. Yeah, there's.
And this was like a Millennium Edition. Most of the heads to them were a silver finish. This was a goldish brass finish.
Okay.
I got it. I'll have to find the name to it, but I remember when he grabbed it, I think he got it for like $40 off the auction.
Nice. Yeah, there are definitely some different brands that aren't the well-known ones.
Yeah.
And in fact, like if you ever, here's a funny story. So Tiger Woods played Nike clubs forever, up until Nike stopped making golf equipment. They still make shoes and apparel, but they don't make golf equipment anymore, which means Nike clubs, if people like Nike clubs, you can't get them brand new anymore. So if there's good clubs out there that are still new or in good shape, if someone likes the club, they'll search and you might be able to sell them. But Tiger Woods, he's been a Nike contracted player forever, right?
Yeah.
He actually did not. I mean, even though it's stamped Nike on his irons, they weren't made by Nike. They're made by a different company, and Nike, took them and then they put their brand on them, basically. And that happens quite a bit, to be honest. Because if you get the mold for something, you can make it.
That was the Cole Hans I was sharing with Kat, because she said she gets a lot of dress shoes down there.
Yeah.
And they're all Nike Air soles.
Well, the interesting part is Cole Haan and Nike did a collaboration for a number of years. So you have kind of a dress casual type shoe, but it has a Nike sole. And a lot of them were like Lunar Lawn or kind of like Zoom type Air in them and stuff. So you have the comfort of a sneaker, but the look of a more dress shoe, casual type shoe.
Well, I just thought it was smart that they do collabs like that they can they stamp their name on something that's already a good product source, and they'll just keep the sales rolling in.
Yep. Well, that's like my car. Real quick, my car, my Supra is a collab, right? It's a BMW Toyota collaboration. Toyota's like, we don't have an inline six we're not going to develop a new one. Let's find the best one in the industry. Stick with that powertrain.
I do love your car. I love it.
Thanks.
That's got to be a fun ride.
Oh yeah.
I was like, my old 3000 GT was fun, but no, nothing compared.
Did you have the VR4 3000 GT?
Yeah.
Nice. So the all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Because remember, Dodge made the Dodge Stealth also, which is kind of like its sister car. And I don't remember if it was the VR4 or if it was the Stealth that had the all-wheel steering. It had slight steering in the rear. Did you remember that?
Yeah.
So
the Stealth got a lot more of the luxury finish because you could get it without the spoiler, still lift up hatch, two-door coupe, but fully electronic everything, leather interior.
Right.
The Stealth was like the sporty, luxury car. 3000 GT was just wide track, wide hips.
Yep.
Heavy to the ground.
Right.
Quick car.
Yeah, I always liked the 3000 GT at the time because it was competitor with the Nissan 300Z and the Mazda RX-7 of the 90s, right? Yeah. And in the late 90s, I actually had two Mitsubishi Eclipse. I had a regular Eclipse GS and I had an Eclipse GST, the front wheel drive turbocharged. So that was my first turbocharged vehicle, and that got me into. I bought when the Evo came out, I bought one. I had several Subarus and stuff. So I've always been into turbocharged cars since then. So
have you ever since I know they just got, I think they just got allowed due to the
the Skyline.
The Skyline, yeah.
Yeah, because now you can import them because it's over a certain year, right? And then they can import them. Yeah.
Over 20 years. So now, everybody's starting to get these 400 horsepower Skylines.
Yeah, it's pretty
with
wild.
antique plates on them. I'm like, heck yeah. We're really close to the military base here, so we see quite a few of them on the roads.
Oh, okay. So when I grew up in Colorado Springs, which is like an hour south of Denver.
Yeah.
And it's a military town, so there's Army base, Air Force base all over. So yeah, I know the feeling.
We have a ton for what I do for, like I said, Church Online that are out there at Colorado Springs.
Nice.
Got a ton of them out there. I'll make an excuse to fly out and visit them, and then I'll
well, let me know.
I'll swing through.
I lived in southern Colorado Springs, so I wasn't too far from Fort Carson Army Base. I was maybe 5 minutes away. Yeah.
Yeah, a good friend, a good friend of mine. They're in Germany now, They just sold their house in Colorado Springs about a year ago because I think he said when they bought it, they lived there before they came to Virginia, and just the market had spiked so big the last couple of years. They sold it, made a pretty good chunk of change, and
Oh yeah.
they bought their house here in Virginia. I think they're in Germany for 3 years, and they're heading back this way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun connecting with people all over the world,
For
and that's
sure.
why it's kind of easy when you do it on YouTube too. I'm like, yeah, well,
Yeah, the housing
kind of a
market
day
in
job.
Colorado has it's huge. It's boomed here. What you could buy for a certain amount, it's like near impossible to find a house like that. Everything just has gone through the roof in the last probably 3 to 4 years at least.
Yeah.
I mean, and like in Denver itself, even rental properties, apartments and stuff. I mean, there was such high demand, So, yeah. So the cost of living definitely has been going up a lot here.
That's the good. I guess the good problem helps out with the economy. I'll talk with Josh, Harry Tornado down there, and he's like, guys, I went full time with this because you have to remember, his mortgage might be $500 a month, $600.
What?
He's like, yeah, cost of living where he is in South Carolina. He's like a household income of like 60,000 does pretty good down there, and I was like,
Yeah.
even where I'm in Virginia, which Northern Virginia is a whole nother animal compared to Virginia. My house in Northern Virginia would go up probably $250,000, to be within the same spot we are.
Okay.
And so it's pretty unique, just kind of where you go. But
yeah,
he just tells people all the time, he's like, I can go full time with this because if I make $30,000 a year, we're still doing okay. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Right. Because like here, I mean, you can rent like a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment for less than $1,000, maybe $1,500 sometimes. It's crazy. If you want to rent a house, I mean, your rent's going to be 2,000 or plus. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just insane.
No, where we are, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house will probably rent for about $1,100.
Wow.
Around here.
Before we bought our first house, we had a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment that at the time she was a girlfriend, not even a fiance. We had, I think our monthly rent was like almost $1,100 a month. We signed a 1-year lease to lock into that monthly rate, and then we renewed, and it went up to like $1,400 within a year or two. It was insane. And we're like, we're tired of throwing this money away. Let's just go buy a house.
That's what we did. We stayed in some loft apartments when they revitalized an old factory town.
Yep.
That's where my wife works now. She actually works for the company that she's a property manager, and we bought our house. And I like doing fixer-upper projects, so I got this house at about $30,000 under assessment. Bought it off a guy as is. I said, yeah, can me and my buddy crawl underneath, look at the foundation, get in the attic? And he said, yep. And he said it was a rental. It was in pretty bad shape. He says, you can give me this for it, and I'll drop the paint and all the supplies that I had. You can get it with the house. He says, or you can let me work on it, and then I'm going to charge you 25 grand more. He said, it's your call. And I was like, well, it's all work I can do. I took 7 days off of work, and I redid the subfloor on up.
Wow.
And 90% of the house, and we moved in, I think, 2 days after that. So.
And did I see in some of your videos, do you have like a pond or some water behind your house?
Yeah. So
yeah, that's awesome.
We're in a neighborhood. I have a little over an acre, so it's not real big, but I own another half acre of a pond that I think it's 8 houses that share. It's a 5-acre pond. But the advantage of the angle my house sits at is my house, half acre of pond, and then behind that is all private property owned land that the developer that built our neighborhood owns that he doesn't want to develop. He keeps that for hunting land and all that stuff. So off my back porch, I don't see any houses. I got a neighbor to the left and right, but I just see water, woods. I mean, it's beautiful when it snows. It looks gorgeous. And
yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah,
can you
have
fish?
A nice little, yeah.
Oh, sorry, can you fish that?
Yep. So we have a nice little canoe. We hop out there, and get some brim, some. I've only caught smallmouth bass. I got snapping turtles, probably this big around. There's some Goliaths in there, and then there's quite a few carp and catfish in there.
Okay. Cool.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's our little fun backyard paradise. It's fun to get out there. And
I bet your son loves it, right? Get out there and have fun and everything else, and as he gets older too, right?
He was kind of the reason we went for it, because he was about 2 years old and apartment life was not fun. Especially we were on the second floor. Our downstairs neighbors didn't enjoy a new toddler running up and down the hallway.
We were on the second floor in our apartment, and it was the first time I had. So I grew up in Colorado Springs, and I went to school, and I still lived at home. So I was able, and then I graduated from college in '99, and I had a full-time engineering job, so I was making good money, but I was still living at home because I hadn't moved out. And once I met my now wife, we decided to get a place together. So I lived at home for a number of years as an engineer, just saving.
Smart.
So I was able to buy our new house and stuff. While
just
later,
get your YouTube channel teaching that to people. Hey, you found a good job? Stay at home. Save your money.
Yep. It's funny because the reason I stayed at home is I actually had my letter of intent to go to the University of Colorado in Boulder, Colorado, which is northwest of Denver. Okay. And they had good engineering school and stuff, but then the school in Colorado Springs, it's University of Colorado at Colorado Springs, so it's a sister school. They're like, well, we want you to go to our engineering school and we'll give you a full ride. So I can't turn that down,
right.
Not have to pay for dorms and other stuff, So I stayed home, and it was one of the better decisions I made, so.
Yeah. My buddy who runs, his YouTube channel, that's what he was doing. He was an engineer for Honeywell.
Oh yeah. That's one of my customers, or one of our company's customers. Yep.
And he was working there for a while and doing pretty good. And
where did he work? What area?
You got me stumped there.
Because there's Honeywell up in I think Minnesota. There's Honeywell down in, I think in Florida, and there's in Colorado Springs.
He's over in Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah. He lives 15 minutes up the road from me.
Oh, okay, cool.
But how he got started on YouTube was actually his wife. They were having their second child. She said, "Hey, now that we have 2 kids at home, I want to stay home more." And he basically did the what every guy would love to say, but he said he did it really nice. But he was kind of like, "Cool, you want to stay home? Figure out a way we're still going to pay bills." And she jumped on an early train, I want to say 6 years ago. What did she start doing? Makeup tutorial videos.
Yep.
And it blew up. And then she started getting the residual checks coming in. And he was like, they're starting to beat my paychecks. Well, his minor in school was video and film. And so he was doing small projects, video projects, wedding videos, things like that. And he's making good side money. But he was just like, all right, well, let me start editing your videos. Let me start doing this. Well, that channel launched him into a cooking channel. He got enough subscribers on that he started doing product endorsement and review. Hey, this is a brand new electric skateboard. Or guess what? I think he did the video for Nintendo Switch. They said he and his 3 boys free Nintendo Switches and flew them to one of the factories to test games and all the fun stuff. So he ran that channel. Well, then people were subscribing to both, which they still had. So they just started a family vlog because so many people just wanted to tune in on their life and their kids. And that blew up. So he walked away from his engineering job and bought a new house. And now he's like, now we go to the door and there's 47 boxes at the front door of companies saying, put our stuff in your videos.
Right. Here's a bunch of free stuff.
He's like, hey man, you need a new mattress? And I said, well, he said, no, what size is your bed? I said, a queen. He's like, cool. Do you want a new mattress? He said, you seen the ads for that purple company?
Oh yeah.
They sent us one, but we told them, sorry, we have a king. They said, well, cool, keep that one. We have a king on the way.
Yep.
They were just like, just show the mattress in the video as you're putting sheets over it. Just
Right.
show like 10 seconds.
Advertising. We
And
bought
he's like,
one of those bed in a box. I think we got, I forget, is it Casper or Ghost or something like that? It's
Yeah.
another competitor to that. And it's actually
Yep.
a decent, kind of it's not quite, I don't think it's a memory foam, but whatever it is, it's similar.
Oh, yeah. We use that for our day bed out in our like sunroom.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I love it.
Yep.
It's a good like nap time bed.
Right. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's. I know we're trying to wrap it up, but you mentioned an engineer going into like YouTube and so forth. A guy that worked for a company up in up in the Midwest. His son was also an engineer, worked for a company. And engineers make good money, but he started doing gaming, streaming gaming on YouTube, and he has a huge following. He stopped. He got out of engineering completely to focus on that full time because he's making much more money by doing that.
Yep. And that's kind of I do want this. I'm not gonna lie and say I'm not a YouTuber I hear so many of them that I see them they just hit their 1,000 subscriber or and now they're like doing a lot of lives and I'm like, it's okay if you make money doing this. Don't don't be upset about it. I just tell people, what's your motive? That's what I always ask everybody. If you're doing it, what's your motive? Are you just using this community to gain an opportunity to make money? Or do you really want this to benefit a personal goal or a business goal, whatever it is? And that was my thing. I was like, yeah, I do want this to make money. I want this to pay my car payment. I want this my goal for reselling is for my wife to go down to part-time. I want her to be at home. She was actually helping in the living room getting listings done. It's the fun stuff that we like working on. And so I always say, yes. Do I want this to make money? Sure. I want to do a lot of fun, generous stuff for other people. That's what I love doing. Like that's my high in life is doing cool stuff for other people.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun. So it's like, yeah, I want this to be able to do that. I want this to be able to help pay a bill or support, the business and grow the business. So it's it'll take time. What do you say? You make like $1 a live. Exactly, man. It's like I love connecting with the people. I'm like, cool. If I make this extra money this time, let it have a goal. Let it pay for something. I want it to buy me a new shed. That's what I want.
Nice.
I want a new shed that I can get all this stuff out of the spare bedroom.
You want a new shed that you can put your riding lawnmower in comfortably and put all your vacuums in the other one without interfering with each other.
It's like, yeah, I have a little 8x10 that if I showed you around, it has more inventory than it actually has gardening equipment. So it's getting bad. And then we were like, okay, but what other room do we devote in the house to this? I'm getting ready to actually redo this room so I can get shipping a little more organized and all that stuff. But yeah, I definitely want, if YouTube wants to pay a bill for me, I'll totally take that. I'll do content to help people in the reselling community and connecting, but take the advantage that if YouTube wants to pay a bill, I just don't want to dive in head over heels and go, oh, what do I have to make for YouTube content? What do I have to do for this? What do I have to do for that? I don't want to go that route.
Right.
No, man, I love it. I mean, I definitely see people that are like, yeah, just write off your office. It's a business expense. I'm like, yeah, I'm not there yet.
Right.
But yeah, man.
I think when you write off a home office, you can only write off a percentage, whatever the square footage is of your total home. So the bigger your office, the more you can write off, right?
Well, I know with what my buddy said, I was like, hey, so what do you do, for your home and everything else? He goes, well, if you watch my videos, I'm very strategic. And I said, what's that? He goes, they do a daily vlog. And he goes, every day is in a different room of the house with different products.
So his whole house is, his work environment.
Yeah. He writes the whole thing off, work environment. They filmed going to pick out a new car. They went to 2 different dealerships. They put dash cams on them. I mean, He's like, I just wrote that minivan off.
Nice.
I was like, okay. Well, I was like, I'll talk to you then. You can help me out when we when we get into good financial structure.
Yep.
But yeah, no, man, I love this. This has been a lot of fun, Dan. This is my first time putting a face with the name, man. That's what I
Yeah.
love. Not just the pictures that Jimmy likes to edit and
Well, I've been waiting
ridiculous.
for a live to jump on. When I saw you had posted for 7 o'clock my time, I'm like, that's going to be close to eating dinner. I don't know if I'll be able to get on. So
No, man. And any other time, man. Any other time that you got good stuff that you can. I'm dead serious. I think you could share with people a lot of financial structure on 5 tips of common sense of not being broke. I was like, there's a lot of people out there that are living broke lives that don't have to.
Right.
Oh, I messed up. I put a rubber band on my computer because I got distracted by a rubber band.
That's all
But
right.
yeah, man. I like that. Improvements for your
It has to
business.
be dedicated.
Yeah.
That's why if you have an entire basement for your eBay area storage, all your stuff, there you go.
Yeah, see, now I have a little 10 by 12 room. Getting cramped.
Yep.
And I'm not even at 250 listings, so it's
Yeah. See,
it's going
I'm a
good.
very minimalist type of person in that respect. I like things in order. My OCD, I like things just in their place. So I don't like clutter. So that'd be really hard for me. I mean, my office, I don't know if you can see easily. I mean, it's
Yep.
very, very, very empty. There's not a whole lot to it. I have my work area over here, and that's it.
That's
So,
nice though, man.
yeah, I like stuff in order.
That's how this room started. I'm dead serious. This was the desk that I put in here as an office desk. It's
Nice.
now where I do my photos. That's a rack that I bought for shipping supplies.
Yep.
That corner is listed. That corner is unlisted. Like, it's an office that turned into 5 racks of inventory.
Nice.
So
Did you
I want to
see?
reformat it.
Oh, sorry. Did you see Jimmy's video when he's in his basement now and
Yeah.
he's got all his little areas for all his stuff? That's I know he's been talking about that since they got that house, and I'm happy that he's able to get down there and actually use it for his business. So.
Me too. There's my wife. Oh, saying goodnight. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for helping out, dear. She's a rock star.
Yeah, she sounds like it. Good night, Brittany.
She's like, tell me how I can help out with this, and she's just been a rock star. She really has. But yeah, because I'm gonna try to list something tonight. Actually, I'm probably not gonna list. Typically, that's the only part that I'm like, man, it would be nice to get up in the morning and pack everything, but I try to do it all before I go to bed. Otherwise, it's not going to get done in the morning.
Well, I think Nate was saying that either on a live or I think it was a live where he was saying when he's packing and stuff, he kind of gets in that mode, and it's like once you're committed and you're going, you don't want to lose labels and all this other stuff. It's like you just keep going until you get that whatever you have to do done. So go until way late in the night. Because if you try to start over the next day or whatever, it's like it's not drop in where you were. You have to okay, what did I do?
No, see, Lone Star Picker, I do it all before I go to bed, because if I skip even 3 easy ones, I'll feel like I'm rushing and I'll do something wrong and I'll put the wrong label on it. It gets bad. Yeah. And then the other thing that I try to I won't list a total of 10 tonight, but something my wife helped out with earlier. I picked up, it was a couple of videos ago, I picked up all those bread makers, and I checked and they're moving pretty good. So we cleaned 2 of those up. So they're easy listings, easy photos.
Yeah.
They'll go for a good $60-$70. So
now I see why Nate stays up so late, because when the family's asleep, he has some time to focus and not get distracted.
That's the same thing I do. I usually turn a podcast on and or get an audio book and get it playing and just get to a grind and keep going.
Right. That's one thing I don't
Speaking
take
of
for
which,
granted because, like, in my
yeah,
house with just my wife and I, we don't have any kids, just a small dog. The only thing you ever hear is the TV on. That's it. Or if my wife's
right.
cooking and she's running, some appliance in the kitchen or something, that's it. It's just it's quiet here, which is nice.
No, it's quiet here. Usually after 9:30.
After the little guy goes to bed.
Yeah, because if I do anything in this office between then and there, he's like, we're teaching him like, hey, if I have the door closed, I might be talking to somebody or working, and
Hmm.
he's just like, Dad, let's build an obstacle course now.
Nice.
And he's like, I took all the boxes, and I'm gonna make a tower.
I've
Never
seen
a dull moment.
I've seen some awesome projects that dads or parents have done for their kids, like those little like American Ninja Warrior style courses in their backyard. And I've seen like where the guys make like a roller coaster in their in their backyard for their kids and stuff. I mean, it's like awesome. Yeah.
I did an obstacle course in the back space of our church. We had some long 16-foot 2x4s and some of that tumble like equipment that you can, it's like kids, it's Velcro, it sticks all together. They're weird big shapes, whatever they are.
Yeah.
And all I did was make parts he had to climb over, a tunnel he had to go under. He had to like get a soccer ball at the end and then make his way all the way back without
Hmm.
falling off the boards.
Oh, nice.
And that was honestly, he loved it. It was also so we could eat our lunch in peace. It was like we are like, you got it. And then we ended up laughing so much because he would lose his concentration, act silly, and fall over and start all over. So
Yeah.
it's never
Nice.
a dull moment. You got to get those free labels. Oh, and then please share with me. I mean, you ain't got to tell me exact amount, but today I was sharing with Dan earlier. Yeah, this was my second highest like sales day, and my week was kind of wonky this week. I really needed this weekend to kind of come through. So that's kind of I like seeing when other people are going, hey, it was really, really busy for me this weekend, because that everybody kind of did their videos. I don't know if you watched some of them earlier in the week, Dan, but everybody was talking about, hey, has everybody's sales kind of gone up and down? A lot of the states are coming out of quarantine. They're
Yep.
getting back into the brick and mortar stores and stuff like that. And I was like, I remember in the chat, and I was like, yeah, I felt it a few days. I had one day that I had $20. The next day I had 200. And I was like, what's going on?
Right.
But this weekend has been a big one. Yeah.
Well, you got to just find some more push carts and vacuums, and you'd be good to go.
Dude, I know. I got to get the vacuum sold, man. That's why I was like, I'll send you something on Instagram. I want to do a big thank you for Kat, because she just did a post, and I reached out to her and I said, yeah, I'm near Richmond. And she says, hey, here you go. Here's a gold mine.
Nice.
She goes, they won't deliver it to my house, so you can have it.
A lot of times they say it's not necessarily what you know, but who you know, right? You get those connections.
And that's why, and she was one of the main ones who requested some like shoe info. Now, her biggest problem is it's where she is. It's really her location. And the stuff I'm going to send her is to encourage her, is like, hey, you gave me a good information that I can help you with. This is what I get. I have snowbirds. I have a lot of dress shoes. They're probably wearing some high-end stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not going to be the Nike or the running shoe and the trail shoe. So now it's like, I just want to help her get the research on. And also, I do find I don't take a lot of chances on online auctions, just because I don't want to pay to have stuff shipped. And that's what she does 99% of her merchandise is.
But I think for her, I bet you a lot of it's out of necessity. Being at least an hour away from anything,
Exactly.
That's her way to source.
And now that I know that, I would have sent her the link of an auction that was going out tonight. And like I was telling her, it was a box of 20 pairs of shoes for $3.
Wow.
And I was looking at it and I was like, man, I don't want to pay the $17 in shipping, And I was also like, I have tons of shoes right now. I don't need any more. But knowing that I do see that stuff because that's kind of my niche, she sends me stuff that she sees because she's really good at it. So now that I kind of know that, when I see these kind of little hot spots where people are selling bulk shoes, I just want to get those links down to her just to help her kind of get really good at that game, because there are some really good deals out there. I mean, that box alone I was looking at, there was a pair of Jordans, two that I could see just by the logo. They were vintage Chuck Taylors, and then a couple like Nike Boosts and Nike Runners and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I see $150 sitting on top of a $3 box, you know?
Yeah. Well,
So,
if you have that little in, I mean, there's so much upside, right? I mean, even if you
Right.
sold them for $20 a piece.
I know. I just know that my wife's still helping me get rid of the bags in the living room. If she would have saw a box on the front porch, she's like, yeah, you're on restriction.
Oh, it's funny. I tell people this, to other people, my wife and I, we keep separate bank accounts. Her money is her money.
Okay.
My money is my money, because we both lived, and had careers before we got together. So we were both already set in that way, and we never actually merged anything, so she, she makes her money, she spends her money. I make my money, I spend my money. There is some overlap, like, different things that are my bills or our bills that I pay for and our bills that she pays for. But we've
Gotcha.
always done it that way, and it just works. So yeah.
It makes Christmas and birthdays way more exciting.
Oh, clearly. I don't
You
see
can't check the
anything.
bank account.
Yep.
And know what you're getting.
Right.
I
So
saw
when
this purchase from Amazon, yeah.
Yeah, so when I see the 8 boxes from Amazon sitting on the front, I'm like, oh, she's buying some stuff.
No,
But it's her money.
See, I have to take cash out of the bank so I can go shopping.
Yeah, you can't have any track of any kind of record of what was actually purchased, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks so much for hanging out, Dan. We got to do this again, man. Like, I really love connecting with you, and
Yep.
probably when I jump off of here, I'll send you my idea, man.
Oh yeah, you said you were going to send me something on Instagram. That's cool.
Yeah, man.
And one real quick,
Definitely.
saw that Nate said no more cutting and taping labels. Nate Krillin still cuts and tapes with Scotch tape, man. So, and people love it. He gets great feedback.
He folds that paper.
My wife just texted me, said she's fading fast. She's going to go to bed. So I think that's my cue that I better get off here too.
Make old froggy flips, hit the sack. Oh man,
that's funny.
Well, see you, Lone Star Picker. I think I'm going to jump off of here too.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks for having me, Josh. It was fun.
Huh?
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
No, thank you, man. And like I said, thank you for being such a huge support on so many channels and chats. And dude, I think next time we do this, we have to talk comedy movies. We might have to do a top 10.
I'll leave this as a cliffhanger for going to the next one.
Okay.
80s SNL alumni.
80s SNL alumni
movies.
I can match you there. I was a bigger fan of late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
I was Chris Kattan to Fallon going out.
Okay.
So Chris Kattan in, you had your Farley run, you had your Sandler run, but when you got to the late 90s, wasn't even the biggest Will Ferrell fan, believe it or not. I liked him once he got into movies. Didn't like him as much on SNL.
See, I wasn't a huge SNL fan, period, but I liked the movies that the SNL people made.
Okay. All right.
So I'll leave it at that.
That'll be good, man. That'll be good. We got to do this next time.
That'd be fun.
All right. Well, thanks, Dan, and thanks for hanging out. And hopefully, if anybody watches this and you watch all the way to the end, you are hardcore once this gets posted. But hopefully, if you did watch it and the shoe information did help you, that's really what I want to make the video for, and have a little Q&A. So thanks, man. I'm going to go ahead and end this broadcast. Everybody have a great night, great day, whatever time it is for you. All right.
All right. Good night, everybody.